let's try that again. Welcome to Technically Trek, the OG Technically Trek. I am your host, Dave Prime, and over there on my right is did you watch Captain Katie? I forgot to read the credits, so I had to do the countdown a second time.
Hello and Happy New Year to everyone.
Or as I like to say, Happy Nude Bear.
Yeah. Oh, well, that just sets the bar for 2026 when it comes to technically Trek. I think technical difficulties all around.
Yeah, yeah. New night, new time. Just like, oh, I forgot to do something.
So yeah, I mean,
The first reading, I just forgot to upload them. So,
yeah, something's always forgotten, and I did warn everyone when I met you guys that my ditziness would eventually rub off on you, and it has, and I'm so proud.
oh boy. But how was your holiday, my dear?
It was good. It was very chilled, very peaceful. New Year's, all day I had a really bad migraine flare. But by the end it was fine. And I just had earplugs in and I was reading because I don't do fireworks. I got a drunken phone call from my best friend at just before midnight because she wanted to see the new year in with me, which was really nice. And yeah, since then it's just been like really chilled and yeah, it's been nice. How was yours?
Yeah, for as chaotic as my neighborhood is, it was quiet at midnight for the new year. Say
Oh wow.
barely no fireworks. Maybe just one or two booms. That's about it. But I was rather shocked. But I scored on my gift cards from my family for Christmas and my birthday.
Oopsie.
Yes, I got a Moopsie, and
Oh.
he is free. He hasn't drank my bones yet, so hopefully that'll stay the same way, and hopefully the camera light will adjust here again. It didn't like that very much, but yeah, did pretty good. Got some cool stuff. Got some things off my Amazon wish list that I've had on there for years, and finally came around to getting it taken care of. But yeah, but I
Hey
got a
Bill.
Moopsie. Mhm.
Oh, I don't oopsie.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get another
Hi
one to
Dylan.
keep. You're gonna get another one to keep them in the box. So, but this Moopsie is free. Holy fuck. But yeah, so I got these new headsets, so I'm still kind of getting used to these as well. But yeah, so my brain just does not want a brain right now. The joys of being 50. Don't turn 50, everybody. One thing that does make this show better, well, not necessarily better, but different from other Star Trek podcasts is that we do welcome live participation with our group. As you can see, it's already blowing up in the chat, but you can click on the StreamYard link in the description on YouTube below, and then that'll get you to the StreamYard. It'll let you go backstage, and then once we start getting people in here, they'll pop in, they'll give us their opinions on whatever episode that we're talking about. Tonight, though, we're doing things a little different. Next week's going to be really different. We'll talk about that later. But for tonight, I kind of put it out there. So it's like, what's everyone's top five Star Trek episodes out of all the 800 plus episodes and movies that are out there today? I don't know what the current count is off the top of my head, but yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot to go from, and you've already kind of like grimaced at a couple of my choices.
Yeah. Now I will say this. I don't generally choose favorites with anything. And if I do, my favorites do tend to differ day to day. So the favorites that I have, like my top five tonight, because I've chosen top five under movie. And the top five that I mean, the movie is always, that is,
Same.
constant.
Yeah,
But
so that's going to be later in the episode too. So,
but the top five that I've chosen are like what I'm feeling today. There are some in there that are always there in my top 5. But there's been a couple that, that do differ a little bit.
Well, maybe later in the year we'll do like a second part of the top 5, do the 6 through 10. Who
Yeah,
knows?
maybe. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, see, we've already lost one person backstage, so oh crap. But before we really jump into it, I just got to give a shout out to my streaming partner, Dubby, as you know, has got my little boyfriend on my little Dubby Tumblr. Dubby is an emergency brand of energy drink that does help people with concentration, focus, reaction time. Gives you all that zip without the crash. As you've kind of pointed out, it's good for gamers, it's good for content creators, it's good for students cramming for that final test. And saying the mission Dubby has is that it just helps people like us here at Technically Track to work with us, try and get the word out on Dubby, and then Dubby helps get the word out on podcasts such as ours. And they're based down in San Diego, so you are buying American. It's great. They got a lot of wonderful drink flavors like purple dub sauce, big energy tears, galaxy grenade. One of my favorites right now, the s'mores, Grandpa's denture water. It's okay. I say that because I got a couple of flavors back there that I've tried already, and they even have like the non-caffeinated like they got Grandpa's water. They got Grandma's lemonade. Grandma's lemonade, very a very summery beverage. But if my brain wants to talk, I think actually there's a deal right now. I'll have to look it up later in the show. But if you just use the code TechTrack, I believe you can get 10% off your order. I'm going to have to pull it up. They got a deal that might be going on for another day or two, which will give you even a bigger discount for everybody, not just content creators, but anybody that wants to give it a shot. They can get some extra money off of that. But I'll share with that later in the episode. But for right now, let's see, we just have Travis backstage, so we are going to bring him
Yeah,
on.
Zach did put a message in. He's got to go to bed. Because he's been up since, did he say 3:30 a.m.? Yeah, he's been up since 3:30 a.m. So, yeah, that's why he's had to leave, unfortunately.
Nuts.
But Phil will be coming on soon.
Yeah, Phil will be coming on soon. Hopefully, Hugh will be coming on soon because we haven't seen him in a hot minute. And he actually sent me a list of his top 5. He said he didn't put any order in them, so I chose what I think is the order that he wants them in. So hopefully he'll agree, he'll disagree, but we won't know unless he's here. But how's it going, Travis?
Say, it's we are just 7 days into a New Year's, and everything's going okay so far. Just trying to ride ride the rapids while steering the ship and stuff and everything.
Sorry, I just got a big old bubble at the back of my throat.
Hold
on.
But no, it's nice to see you alive and well in 2026, Travis. Happy New Year, darling.
Happy New Year to you too. Yeah, it's good to see everybody and stuff. We survived another year. 365 days. Well, you could say
the trip around the sun.
But
365.25673221. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, just simplify it. 365 and a quarter. That's why we have a leap year every 4 years.
But yeah, so tonight we're going to just discuss our thoughts for what we think is at the moment, how we feel at the moment, some of the best Trek has to offer. And I wanted to start off with Katie, and hopefully she approves of like the the images I chose for her top five, and there go my lights going all wonky again. But
Uh,
yeah, number five for Katie is Equilibrium from Deep Space Nine. Get to learn a little bit about Dax's
Mm.
past, and it's a bit of a doozy. One of the earlier spooky episodes from the series. Why did you choose Equilibrium for number five?
A few reasons. One, Dax is one of my favorites.
Hmm.
And I love her to pieces. But also, this speaks a little bit close to home for me. And with the joined trill, they've basically got several personalities living within them, all merged together.
Mhm.
And I kind of get that. With it being a very high potential that I've got DID. And well, I just need to formally diagnose it. But the struggles within this episode, I can kind of relate to, but it's a very interesting episode for me as well, because there's a lot of cloak and dagger, there's mystery, and I love a good mystery. But also the relationship between Julian and Jadzia is shown very beautifully in this episode, I think. Very subtly, but very beautifully. And even though there's a lot of drama around what's going on with Dax, there's also a kind of calm to this episode that technically there shouldn't be, because of everything that's going on. But just the way things are handled, things flow very seamlessly. And it it shows the lengths that true friendship will go to. And the lengths that those two, especially Cisco and Bashir, would go to for Dax, for their friendship. And yeah, it was very, in a way it was a very light episode, but in a way it was a very dark episode as well. And that balance of light and dark was done very well. And that's why I mean, it's one of my favorite DS9 episodes. It's probably my favorite DS9 episode, especially like the way I'm feeling at the moment. but yeah, it and what Jadzia says at the end, to truly know who you are, you have to know who you've been. And that is probably my favorite line of the episode, because that is so true. And it also, the message it gives to me is basically to know thyself, sort of thing. To know yourself completely and accept every part of yourself, the light and the dark, just the way that Jadzia did. And she did it so calmly, with such confidence and such grace. It gives a powerful message about accepting every part of yourself, regardless of whether other people don't or not. And just to be whole. And yay!
I bet, Katie. Woo!
I know that didn't take long, did it? But yeah, that's why this is number 5 in my top 5. It's more powerful than people realize.
So yeah, we don't have a graphic for you, Travis. Well, but before we do that, what are your thoughts on her choice for number 5? I personally I like it. It's like it's a dark episode. It's an episode where we finally get to see the planet Trill for the first time, and I think the
Yeah.
only time until we got to Discovery's final season
Mm.
when.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts?
It's well, they started off with Dax and stuff and everything. I'm gonna make this really brief and quick and everything. And I could tell you it was gonna be we all knew it was gonna be a Dax particular episode. One thing that really actually showed in about this particular episode is the mystery behind how did Jazia became in the state that she became, and it was like, what? There's a cover up. The cover up was the Symbiosis Commission. I really like that whole thing that Doctor Bashir and Cisco. It really got into the whole thing of something that was such a trail secret that only a very few people knew about it, and they kept it from the entire population. You know, out of understandable fear because they found out that they put a symbiote into a crazy guy almost 100 years ago, and he was living with the Dax symbiote for many months and showed no sign of, as they were thought that a rejection, but it didn't happen. So they learned that nearly half of their population is capable of joining and stuff and everything. And I like how Cisco unveiled to the doctor who was treating Dax and stuff about, like, look, if she dies, I'm gonna blow the lid off of this whole thing. It was so good. I just love that whole thing. There, sure, everything else is because it's like, why did they? It comes down to it. Why did they really wanted to let Jazia die? Because they had a secret that they must protect almost at all costs. And I love that little mystery. I love the mystery of the whole thing and stuff.
Oh,
So I mean,
that
it was great. It was great. The
See,
little
this is
bit.
this is one of the main reasons why I love this episode, because I mean, I grew up with like Agatha Christie and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I grew up on mysteries, and I like a good mystery in an episode. And this one, it was like very personal. It wasn't just like a big mystery, like, who were the founders or this, that, and the other. It was a personal mystery, and it was also one that was life threatening as well. And yeah, so
yeah, Dax's life.
exactly,
Or Jadzia's life.
well, yeah, but this is why I put it in my top 5, because aside from it speaking to me personally, it's a damn good mystery. What's next?
We don't have a graphic for Travis's number 5, but what's your number 5 choice for episodes?
It's not an episode. It's a movie, actually.
Which
It's one of the earliest movies. Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock. It was it really showed too in this particular episode. I like Star Trek 3 or Star Trek 2 with Wrath of Khan and stuff and everything, but I really enjoy 3 just a little bit more and stuff.
Hugo just joined the chat. Hello, stranger.
How we have missed you. We can't hear you.
You're muted, man. I'm really sure if I can unmute him. Oh, can't unmute. Guess because they chose to mute themselves. And
I think he's having a few technical difficulties.
It would be technically Trek otherwise, but keep on going, Travis, because it's interesting that you chose Star Trek 3 for your number 5. So
because Star Trek 3 it not only introduced some interesting characters, besides the ones we seen in the motion picture in Star Trek, and then they brought some familiar faces back from the TOS days. But in season not season, but in Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, you start to learn too that Dr. McCoy wasn't all there in his head. He wasn't there in his head. And it was like, what's going on with him? And then they introduced to a new class starship that no one has ever, that people was just all in gush, because I love I'm a big starship guy and everything else. When they introduced and they showed the Excelsior, the great experiment, as Captain Kirk said, stuff like that. But
It's more the
me,
engines for the experiment rather than the ship.
yeah, yeah, they call it the great experiment and stuff, the Excelsior. But also too, we learn in the sense that there was more to what Spock did in the previous movie and stuff. And it's like, oh wow, this was Spock's death, but yet they're gonna bring him back and stuff. How they're gonna bring him back was just very interesting. And then we got something what they would call a weapon of mass destruction, but in the sense that it could be used in that way, but it was actually a weapon that basically can create life and stuff and everything else, But also, one of the saddest things I ever seen for Bill Shatner, not Bill Shatner, but Captain Kirk, was the loss of his son. He had a son. We found out he had a son. We only briefly met him. And then all of a sudden, he died. He was killed by Klingons. A Klingon, I should say, and stuff. But it showed that the crew of the Enterprise from that time period, they bounded together and they chose to they chose the friend over their careers, which was pretty interesting and stuff.
Yeah.
But all in all, I really enjoy that particular movie and stuff and everything else, more so than some of the ones, even like some of the Generations movies and stuff and everything, just because it came out in a different time and era. I was a little young, but once I got a little older and I started rewatching it, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Star Trek 3.
Yeah, you
Hey,
can't,
Phil.
can't really.
Hi.
Myself, hello.
Hello. Were you checking on Hugo to see what's going on with him there, Katie?
Yeah, I've just said we heard you, then come back.
And then I heard a big old sigh, and then he dropped off. So I was just like, what the heck?
But yeah, I've told him to come back. He needs to come back. It's a sin if he doesn't. But anyway, Happy New Year, Phil.
Yes, Happy New Year. Happy 2026.
What would you like to respond to Travis's number 5 being
number 3?
Yeah.
No, that's number 5. I see what you're saying.
Number 5 on the list.
Like you said you meant like Star Trek 5, and I'm like, huh.
No, Star Trek 3 for number 5. Yeah, Katie has Equilibrium from DS9 for hers.
I actually know if I can jump in. It's funny that you picked Star Trek 3. Because I was in my teens when that came out, and it's funny that at the time and for quite a number of years after, it was not liked. It was actually, that's why they kept talking about the odd and even number ones, because it was there with like 1 and 5, because it was kind of a downer. It ended at like the ship explodes and Kirkson dies, and it ends in this downer, and so people were like kind of not into it at the time. But I found that as years gone by and newer generations now, like if you go on YouTube and watch young people watching these for the first time, if you've never done that, it's quite hysterical. I
love it. I love it. Target audience,
but
the channel target audience.
They love 3 now. A lot of them really, really like 3 a lot. So it's actually not uncommon for like a lot of the younger generations. Somehow that film has aged better than some of the others. So yeah, it's interesting. That was, but yeah, it's
Kitty.
Jesus Christ.
Bloop.
Phil, do you have a number 5?
I just sort of, well, I jotted down 5. I didn't know where to go, but since you mentioned a movie, I'll start with this one then. That and these are in no particular order, but I'll go with Star Trek 4 because it just kind of has a special memory to me. It was the first Star Trek film I did see and managed to finally see in the theater, and because 3 was kind of a downer, this was a comedy, and so and it was fun just to see these characters in a little more lighter environment, and that they paired them off and each had a different thing to do, and and it kind of ended on a happy note, and the movies could have actually almost ended there if they wanted to. I was surprised when they announced, well, I was surprised and sort of surprised when they announced a 5, because I thought that was kind of the fitting ending for the series right there. But no, it's that it's funny because I started to develop this thing for time travel movies, I guess, but it was a ship out of water or fish out of water, sorry, kind of scenario. They're all kind of out of place, and this is just stuff they've read about. They actually, even though they've gone back in time many times, but just that sort of
nope.
Being an
I was waiting
unusual
for an
environment.
opportunity to say that I was going to bring Hugo into the chat, and I didn't want to interrupt you. Sorry. And then he
No,
just
no
he
worries.
dropped off again. But keep going. When he pops up again, I'll just pop him in.
Oh no, that's okay. That was why I picked. I think if there was only a little downside was the fact that there's not much Enterprise in it. They're using the Klingon ship for most of it, and they don't get the Enterprise till the end. So there's not much Enterprise in it, which was sort of disappointing. But other than that, I've always actually really liked that.
And you know what? Like you said, it was a comedy. It was almost like a comedy.
It was,
Star Trek and everything and stuff like that. Because, like you said, the Star Trek 3, as I mentioned just previously, it was a much darker, sadder tone and stuff and everything else. But at the end, they got their friend back. Yet, Kirk's son passed away. The Enterprise, exploded, blew up, and everything else. But in Star Trek 4, we saw they rechristened. Was it the Yorktown?
Mm-hmm.
The Yorktown to become the Enterprise A.
Right.
So,
and it's funny that 2, 3, and 4 are actually an arc. Like they each one of those films connect.
Yes.
2, 3, and 4. So it's interesting that those ones kind of right in the middle. You could watch those 3 and miss the other 3, and you'd have this one complete story.
And you know what? I enjoy the practical sets that they built for the models and stuff and everything.
Oh yeah,
2, 3, and 4.
Oh god, yeah.
I enjoy the sets and stuff and everything.
And the animatronics for the whales too. See the whale rights.
Yes,
these big full scale whales that they
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, I'm all for save the whales, but no.
Give me a thumbs up if you want to try again, Hugo.
Oh, poor Hugo.
But yeah, I know you guys love TOS, but
yeah, sorry, it's what I started with, and I from the 70s to for like over a decade. It's what I grew up with on television. Didn't know until Next Generation started. People didn't embrace Next Generation when it started either. No. They did not like it. No. It almost lost it after the first 2 seasons. They almost bottomed out. But
yeah, because it's kind of funny.
We got. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would say hopefully we got Hugo working now, because it's kind of funny because you were saying that you liked Star Trek 4. Star Trek 4 made Hugo's list at number 5 as well.
Oh, okay. His take on it.
Well, he said no particular order, but I looked at the order. Like, yep. His number 1, I think he'd agree that that's the number 1, because it was on my short list too. But how's it going, Hugo? If you can respond.
I think it's paid the most money or sold the most tickets of the original 6 as well.
I think so too. Yeah.
I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't I can't do TOS. I mean, I expected it from you and Travis, Phil, but I didn't expect it from my darling Hugo. I'm sorry, but
we'll get them out of the way early. We'll get these ones out of the.
Not
No.
exactly.
No. Well, while we're waiting for Hugo to hopefully get his technical things sorted out, what is your number? What's got slot 5 for you, Dave?
For me, number 5, I went with Prodigy's episode Kobayashi. Because, I mean, it blended a lot of different series all together. It's early in Prodigy's run. I think it's episode 6 where they just discover the holodeck, and Dahl says, "Oh, what's this Kobayashi Maru thing all about?" And say it's on the Enterprise D bridge. You got Scotty, you got Spock, you got Odo, you got Uhura, and say, and of course, most of those actors unfortunately have passed away. But they were able, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of the audio from their recreations are so disjointed, is because they lifted source material off different episodes. But it kind of Dahl did a lot of growing up in this episode. Is that he's starting to learn more about what Starfleet's all about, and he is a lot of his personality is like me. It's just like, I got to do it right. This has got to work perfectly. This is not working. Why is it not working? I got to do it again. I got to do it again. There's just, I'm sure a lot of people can relate, saying, yeah, that's me. I see a lot of characteristics in Dahl as I see in myself, and that's why I kind of went with for my number 5. I say, what do you guys think?
I am still yet to see Prodigy. Now you have me curious to see that particular episode, though.
Yeah, Katie was just like, couldn't get through the first season.
No, I couldn't, and I said, I don't know if it. I think it was backstage. I said this before the show. There is only 3 times in my life I have started watching something and not finished it, and that is Prodigy, Supernatural, and The Walking Dead. And because my OCD won't allow me to, but even my OCD has limits, and Prodigy was one of them. But I understand why you would have that as the number as number 5, with how you described it, and I do vaguely remember that episode, but I've kind of like blocked it out a lot. But I do, it does ring a bell.
But yeah, well, yeah. See, I'm just trying to think. Going to respond to Hugo here in a second, but what about your thoughts, Phil? It's pretty much the same. Just don't remember a lot. But I've only seen it the one time, because with all the Netflix and the Paramount and all that rigmarole, so I've only got
I haven't watched Prodigy yet.
Oh, but yeah, it's a good episode, because I mean, it definitely.
I'll look for it. I'll definitely watch it. Yeah, I do want to, but yeah, I haven't. It was just sort of eluded me all this time. So yeah, one of these I have to. But yeah, I can't comment on it because I haven't seen it yet, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but I'd like to see it now.
Yeah, it's a good episode, and of course, when things go, I forget what happened in that one scene particularly, but say it didn't go according to plan. But when Dahl starts to realize that he's not all that in a bag of chips, he's having a real heart-to-heart with the hologram of Spock, and Spock kind of says things to him that opens up Dahl's mind to be a little more receptive of what's going on. And Hugo, if you can hear us at least, what are you using, Firefox or are you using Chrome? Because if you're using Chrome, try Firefox, because Firefox does cooperate a lot better with the audio. I was going to just text you in the Discord server, but yeah.
I use Chrome.
I've had problems with Chrome, especially with the DT show. But once I started using Firefox, never not an
I've
issue.
always used Chrome.
Nope.
The only time I've ever had issues with the audio is when my hearing aid was playing up, and that's why I don't use that's why I don't wear my hearing aids anymore. I use an earbud. But yeah, it's the only time I've really had problems with audio, like on my end.
Yeah, it looks like he didn't even.
But yeah, I am really, really hoping that it stops being a bitch for him, because I have missed Hugo.
Yes.
And I need a New Year's fix of Hugo. I really do.
Yeah, let's see. He is responding. Okay, he is using Chrome. It's the lower band Wi-Fi, but yeah.
Well, hopefully he will get the issues sorted out.
Well, we'll do our number 4, and then hopefully by the time we get through all that, excuse me, that he'll be able to go with his number 4. But for Katie, you went for an episode that we're going to be doing here sometime down the road, Imperfection, with a Manu episode, an Egypt episode. Saying so, you've talked about it backstage. Like I said, this is going to be an episode that we are going to discuss. We are going to have Manu Intiraymi as a guest host for that. But why, other than knowing Manu, what were some of the things that made you choose that for your number 4?
I mean, this predates Manu, like knowing Manu. It does. Imperfection is one of my favorite episodes of Trek ever, and that is always in my top 5, because it's such a powerful episode and there's a lot of emotion in it. And I mean, 7 of 9 is very stoic. She is very stoic, very much like Tuvok in that sense. And she's never been used to having people who have her back, because she's basically grown up in the collective, and she's still struggling with that, even though she's been on Voyager a while. You know, she is still struggling with that, and it's something she's never had to deal with, which is her mortality. And the relationship between her and Icheb is very much the forefront of this episode. It is very much the focus of this episode, aside from 7 of 9's cortical node going all tits up. But for me personally, this is probably one of the deepest episodes that represent family and what family will do for one another. And I mean, even though Icheb is, you know, he's intelligent beyond belief, and he cares for the crew, especially 7 of 9. She became like a mother to him. But he was willing to risk his life to save her. And yeah, fair enough, when you're in Starfleet, when you're on a ship, you know, you put your life on the line a lot for the people on the ship. But this was wholly personal. And it also showed a different side of 7 as well. It showed the emotion she has within her, and that she isn't a Borg anymore.
See, do we got our audio issues figured out, Hugo? Are you able to hear us? Are you able to speak? Maybe, hopefully.
He's on mute at the
Or is
moment.
he behind? Oh, he behind
Sec, and I don't know if you can hear me now, but
there.
there we go.
Whoop, maybe.
Oy.
You got
Yeah,
it.
your Wi-Fi is a little wonky there. But hey, stranger.
Yeah, it is working now. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good to have you here, Hugo, and Happy New Year, darling. You need to join us more often.
If I could lend you some of my Wi-Fi, I would, Hugo.
Same.
It's okay.
Oh, I think we're good
I think
now.
we'll get through it. It's starting to get fine. I think we're fine now.
Oh,
Might
yay.
have a couple more little bumps, but I think
Hiccups. But yay, welcome back. It's been a while.
it has been. I'm glad to be back.
Let's see. Excuse me. I just got a nasty itch in my ear.
Yeah, so we will pause on my number 4.
Oh.
Because I want to hear why Hugo has like put our friendship at risk by having that as his number 5.
Wasn't Star Trek 4?
Yeah, darling, why?
Yeah. Wait, which I just got to interject. By the way, the little that image of Scotty talking to the computer in the mouse. Some of you may have seen the meme that says before Hey Siri and OK Google, there was Hello Computer.
The Wi-Fi network. You might want to check the connection settings in the Google Home.
Oh, I made that. I made that 7 years ago. I put it on my Facebook, just like this was mine. I made this, and it's still proliferating on the internet all these years later.
It's the best Star Trek movie, Katie. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah,
Don't
it
do
is.
this to me. Don't do this to me, Hugo.
I just love how beautifully camp it is. It's unapologetic in the camp. The fact that it's an entire future movie, but it's set in the past.
Oh, well, their past, our present day when it was first came out.
Yeah, but the past for the story of them, it's a time travel bottle episode essentially. I don't know. It's just such a great movie. I love the whales.
Oh yeah, I'm all for Save the Whales.
And the idea of them trying
I love the whales, but
to fit into a pastime.
what a way to start the new year. I'm not questioning my friendship with Hugo.
Quick little fun fact I'm going to throw super fast. Also, at the very beginning of Star Trek 4, I think most people have noticed that it gives a dedication.
I'm sorry.
Because the Challenger explosion had just happened that January, and it was just within a few months they kind of put that on the beginning to dedicate the film to them.
Yes, absolutely.
I remember sitting in the theater when that came up. Everybody in the theater was like, "Ah."
Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing the shuttle explode in school. It was like, I think me and Dave and Phil, we were the only ones here who watched it on TV, and we were just like, it really exploded.
Yeah, I was at home. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in class. We were watching it, and then I just remember just the stunned silence from the entire class. We're just like, what the just happened?
But like I said, the practical effects from those movies from the first 4 Star Trek movies were all really good because the models, the miniatures, and the sets. I mean, hell, I thought they were real whales. I
did too.
Real well.
It was ILM. It was the people who were doing Star Wars. So yeah, they had like partial models. They had all the kits and everything ready. They knew what they were doing by that point, so they knew how to shoot it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was so realistic that animal rights activists were up in arms about it. It's like, these are robots. These are not real
Yeah.
animals. They're not real whales.
Electronics.
Mhm.
You see, Mickey Mouse is.
And I think what's great about that movie, it doesn't rely on an enterprise. There's no enterprise until the very end.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry
There
if it
was
runs our
also,
friendship, Katie, but Star Trek 4 is a great movie.
it kind of did help save the whales too, because it brought about like a big awareness when that film came out. So people actually started donating money.
It really did.
See,
It
now that's
really
the only
did.
thing I like about that movie. That is the
Yeah.
only thing I like about that movie. Is the Save the Whales campaign. I love that. That is literally the only thing that I love about that movie.
So you didn't
So
like the
many-
part where you didn't like the part where where was that the old lady? The doctor gave me a new kidney. The
Yeah.
doctor gave me a new kidney. Oh, the doctor gave me a new kidney. Oh my goodness, he just slapped that.
Double
stick.
dumbass to you.
Oh, he gave that woman a new kidney.
Yeah, just a little. I mean, yeah, I'd say, and I gotta say, like that whole scene with the transparent aluminum, just McCoy of all people say, giving him this formula is going to change the course of history, and then Scotty's like, how do we know he didn't invent it?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, but there's like, oh, okay, cool.
I don't like
But
they
then-
shot them. They shot some of the move. They shot in San Francisco in the real like they
Mhm.
went to San Francisco to shoot that movie
Yeah.
and stuff. I really like that.
Most of it. And say
Yes.
the Golden Gate Park, that was a park in Los Angeles. It wasn't actually shot on location. Say, but a lot of the other stuff, yeah, it was shot in. And I made Walter Koenig facepalm when I met him years ago at Emerald City Comic Con. And when I just like I went to San Francisco, saw all this, that, the other, and all I could think is where the nuclear vessels were at. And he just
Oh, the poor guy.
That's
He's never going to live those two words down.
probably not. Nuclear vessels. Now,
I'll throw another little fun fact on this on Star Trek 4 too, really, and then I'll shut up. The music is done by a guy named Leonard Rosenman, who did the score for the animated Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings when he did the first part or the first two parts. Never completed it, but if you listen to the opening score to Star Trek 4, and then there's, I think, something called the March to Mordor by Leonard Rosenman, they sound way too much alike. It's like, oh my god, you just like stole your own score for this movie.
yeah, I have not seen the
Yeah.
I have not seen the animated Lord of the Rings in forever, which was narrated by none other than Leonard Nimoy.
Oh,
I've never seen the animated one.
We lost
the
Hugo
original
again.
one is animated by Ralph Bakshi.
Like the late 70s one?
Yeah, because it was Ralph Bakshi did the first part, and then Rankin
Well,
Bass
no.
actually finished it with Return of the King. But
Yeah, but
that
no,
was-
but Nimoy narrated the
did he narrate the? Okay,
he narrated the film. See, but let me
Never
just
narrated,
quadruple
but
check
okay.
on that. Lord, da-da-da.
Yeah, I've never
did
seen
you-
the animated Lord of the Rings ever.
it's.
You see,
Look
I've
at the
seen
experience.
the
Oh.
movies.
No, he sang the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah. Oh, did he? Okay.
See,
Oh,
I've-
yeah. That's.
And
I've
he
seen the
ate
movies
Bilbo.
of Lord of the Rings, but I've only seen the extended versions. I've not seen the
Hmm.
standard versions.
Well, but in the late 70s, early 80s, that they did an animated Lord of the Rings movie.
Yeah, I know. I've been meaning to watch it, but I mean, I haven't even read the books yet.
haven't either.
So I've got them, and The Hobbit as well, but I haven't read them yet because I need to get the audio books because I can't read anymore without the audio because of my migraine. So
So, did you want to finish up on your synopsis of of imperfection, Katie?
Where was I?
Or do we want to move on to
this. No, very quickly. It's a very family orientated episode. It very much solidifies the relationship between Seven and Ichab. And it also shows a side of both of them that nobody's seen before. But it also shows the lengths that the crew will go to for each other because of how close they've gotten, and that the crew's relationship with each other, especially the senior officers, are very unlike other crews in Star Trek because they are completely on their own. They don't have Starfleet to back them up, and they've had no choice but to deal with things, and they truly have become a family. And even B'Elanna, you know, her and Seven have always had a very, what's the word, tense relationship right from the off. But even B'Elanna was very supportive of Seven and made Seven feel like part of the family. And that's why it, like, since the very first time I ever said it, I ever saw this episode, it has been one of my favorite episodes of Trek ever. People probably won't agree with me, but you know.
the one thing that I really took from the episode is how incredibly stubborn both Seven and Ichab are.
Oh, hell yeah. That must be a Borg thing. I'm sorry, but it must be. They must have inherited that from the Borg because, holy crap, I just wanted to get both of them and bang their heads together throughout the entire episode.
Well, and like towards the end of the episode where Ichab decided to essentially lobotomize himself and disconnect his cortical node, and Seven refuses to take it, and say Ichab refuses to reconnect it. So doctor's like, well, take it.
Exactly, you know, and she sees it as him being reckless. He sees it as him. He sees it as this is going to work and I'm going to prove it. But again, that stubbornness that they're both fighting against with each other, and what the Doctor's fighting against as well. I mean, I did not envy the Doctor in this episode. He had his work cut out. But I mean, it all worked out in the end, and you know, it is a beautiful episode.
What's your number 4, Travis?
My number 4 is actually from TOS, actually from the 6th season, actually, and it's called Relic.
Oh dear.
Did you? No, he misspoke, Katie.
He misspoke. It's not a TOS episode.
It's from the 6th season of TNG.
But it's got an original series character.
Scotty, I love that episode. I love that episode.
It was really well written in a sense, because they bought in. We've seen in the past, they bought in people from, the TOS era, like Spock's father. We seen them, mentioned in passing of, like, in what's that, the Naked Time or the Naked Now? Was it the Naked Now? Yeah, about disease of making everybody seem like they were drunk and stuff and everything else, and they had the basically a cure in their own databanks and stuff. But they mentioned, but to have, and then recently in the previous season they showed Spock too. Spock, I mean, that's another big, but you know, James Doohan come back in to play his character, you know, was just such a really touching feeling when it came to seeing this man that, he was an engineer. He wasn't like the ones and stuff like that. He was always the one that, people went to for this, we need a solution and we need it, or Captain, I'm giving this much more that she got and everything else and stuff. The one phrase too that everybody know from TOS, um, beam me up, Scotty.
Mhm.
That's just one of the things that's like, beam me up and everything else. And to have them showing that Scotty was, stuck in a transporter, which, the whole story about Scotty being stuck in a transporter, for about 70 some years and stuff. It was like, okay, I could get behind that. And then there was another gentleman named Franklin that got lost in the pattern, in the,
Buffer.
the grading and stuff and everything else in the buffer. And it's just nice seeing the interaction between him and the Forge, you know.
I love you,
Huh?
Dylan. Jeez.
But all in all, I really like this. I really think this episode was really well written and done in the sense to, just made it just overall it was a nice storytelling of seeing Scotty interacting with DeForest Kelly. He was in the second
Pilot.
episode, in the pilot. Well, it was the second, but it was
And
but he was
into
the
the
old
first.
admiral, and stuff. But like, Scotty, oh man, I really he was one of my most favorite characters from the TOS day. Next to him and Spock were the, my number one and number two of the characters
me
that I
too.
really enjoyed, and stuff.
That
But
was a
yeah,
good
I chose Relic
Hmm.
for my number 4.
Right on. Yeah, it's definitely a good episode. Of course, a lot of it kind of was thrown into question when he appeared in Generations several
Yeah,
years later.
that
It's
threw
just
me
like,
off. That was the first thing to come to my mind.
Yeah.
but well, number one, Scotty and Chekhov were not written for that movie. It was supposed to be Bones and Spock, but they thought it was beneath them to be such a bit part for a big movie. So then they rewrote it for Scotty and Chekhov. But on the flip side, I always say that little degradation that his pattern experienced while being in the buffer for 70 plus years, he might have just scrambled his brain a little bit, thinking that Kirk was still alive when he wasn't.
Right.
Because
That's
the
true.
events of obviously when he crashed, it's after the movie, so he just forgot. So that was a explanation on that.
That was the first time I heard of a Dyson sphere too. I thought they had made that up for the show, but that's apparently was a thing.
It was a thing.
Yeah, I thought that
90s,
was. I really thought that was too until I did a little research. I'm like, oh my goodness, there was actually a gentleman who back in the '60s who proposed he theoretically proposed, a constructed sphere around a harness, a star, and everything. It's like the engineering principle is you couldn't even begin. That's almost like Star Wars Galactic kind of principle. Engineering principle. But yeah.
The interesting thing that I found with that show too that stuck out to me is when they started writing TNG, they started getting a little more technical with it, especially when it comes to like the engineering. They were using certain terminology that they had developed for that show that when you listen to TOS, it's very basic. It's very 60s. That 60s understand. So now all of a sudden to him and come in and start using terminology that is TOS terminology, that kind of I sort of picked up on that he was talking like they are in a way, but mind you, I guess as an engineer you'd keep up on the technology. So he just picked up the
absolutely.
But it's not probably more improbable, but not impossible, Dylan. That's the best way I can answer that. Just
They
like
connect entire planets.
it's not impossible, but it's just like it's
Impossible at the time being.
yeah. But yeah, it would definitely require a lot of engineering marvels and quantum leaps to be able to get to it. But I mean, in about 400 years, it's probable that it could happen.
I'll
Well,
believe it when I see it.
within our like sphere of here on Earth, it doesn't say that an alien race couldn't postulate the similar function of a sphere.
An alien race may already have something similar. We don't know. Who is next for number 4?
Bill.
You know me? I'll make this quick,
Actually, just
short and sweet. I'll get it out of the way now. It's a TOS episode. Sorry, it's The Devil in the Dark.
Good
The Devil in
one.
the Dark was always a
That's a
favorite.
good
That was one of the first ones I saw as a kid, and I grew up in like the 70s and 80s, so I loved B movies, right? And this had a real B movie, monster movie vibe to it. These creatures that were eating through rock and killing people.
But
But
taking too much bandwidth.
yeah. And so I was even when I was little, for some reason, I was like right glued to the TV on that one. I was so into that particular episode. I loved it. And but I thought it was really cool too that at the end they weren't just like, oh, they're evil and they're destroyed, but you find out that no, they were trying to protect themselves and protect their young, and that they actually found a way to work with them and use them. And it wasn't like, wasn't like, oh, well, they've killed people, now we have to destroy them. It's like, no, they misunderstood. And yeah, some people died, they were kind of apologetic about it. And
Kill I.
Yeah.
How it was able to burn those words into the rock that's the first means of communication. And then of course it came up with the Spock meme.
But no, that was always a big favorite of mine. Still is one I enjoy watching today. So
absolutely.
Well, hopefully Hugo can come back. I just feel bad that he's having so many issues with his Wi-Fi tonight. Saying hopefully, I'd say I'm thinking once I got moved into the current apartment that I'm in, I could just hardwire into the modem. But then I looked at my laptop and there's no networking port on this laptop. It's like crap. So I'm stuck with Wi-Fi.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Hugo's number 4 is an episode that we've talked about a while back. Is Critical Care.
Yes, that is a very powerful episode.
It is a powerful episode, and it's an episode that would have made that Gregory Itzin kind of plays a bit of a dick. He's good at playing dickish characters. I mean, the one character that he reminds me the most is Charles Logan from 24 season 5, and Hugo is back. We are talking your number 4, Hugo, Critical Care.
Oh, I love that episode. Clearly.
Yeah. So, well, that's number 4 based on the 5 that you gave me. So I'm just like, I think you'll like the way I put your 5 together. So
it doesn't really matter because I liked all Trek. It was hard to come up with 5. That, like Katie said, it's hard to come up with just 5.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I love Critical Care for the fact that it, like, I don't know. You know how nowadays they say that Trek is woke and it talks about political issues, but this is clear evidence that Trek has always been about political issues because it's a hard-hitting examination of the medical system and the idea of people being more worthy of medicine than others and everything.
And this episode's over 20 years old, so it's definitely relevant more so today than it was when it first aired.
Yeah, because the insurance system has only got worse since this episode. And we are, a lot of people face the same problems that the characters in Critical Care face. The idea that, some rich guy gets a new heart, but you get to sit on your back and slowly die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the fact that, like the episode tackles the fact that the medicine that could save these people's lives from this essentially black lung that they've got is a medicine that's just used to treat wrinkles and aging that they might not even experience.
Yeah, arterial aging.
Imperial aging.
Yeah. There's an idea that it might not even actually affect them at any point. They're just getting it. It's like a precaution for it. It's like taking wrinkle cream when you're 12.
That's true.
But
Or Botox.
Yeah, it's like doing Botox. It's literally, it could save people's lives, but instead it's being pumped into faces.
Yeah.
but the probably one of my favorite bits from that episode is when the Voyager crew is trying to find Gar, and they talk to this woman that he slept with, and she's like, "You after him, aren't you? You just want him for yourself." And she was, what? She's like, "No, I already got him. I just clubs Tuvok." Yeah, it's like, I already got him in Tuvok's like one of the rare situations he's taken completely off guard, but he just rolled with it like a pro.
Which brings up the fun B plot, which is essentially the plot of what's the Deep Space Nine episode? The the one where Jake and Nog are going and they're trying to trade up throughout the entire episode.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the episode. Travis, you probably know the answer to this one. It's the in the cards.
What was that? Sorry.
In the cards.
Yeah. So it's
Oh,
you're
talking about the in the cards. Okay, yeah. In the cards.
We're trying to figure out the name of the episode because he was like Jake and Nog trading up, trading to get what they need, and but yeah, in the cards, it's just that episode, the bit between Jake and Nog, it's like it's like don't get your own goal face like
the B plot is that.
we banged ourselves. And it's like, well, you gotta get my then. That's also a good episode.
Yeah, I do like that. I mean, Critical Care is. I struggle watching that episode because of how angry it makes me. It is a beautiful episode, brilliantly done, but it makes me so enraged. It really does, and that's the only reason I struggle watching it, because it is a very powerful episode. It does highlight, as Dave said, more today than it did back then. The problems within the healthcare system. And, I mean, I know that we've got the NHS over here and you don't. But it's kind of the same over here as well. You have to make do if you don't have the money to go private. And there are certain medications that are available in the private sector that aren't available on the NHS, which could be life-changing for people. There's a medication that I would love to try for my fibro, but it's only available privately. And I don't think it's actually available for fibromyalgia. But it's wrong on so many levels, and this is why it makes me so angry when I watch Critical Care. And I have to make sure that I'm in the right frame of mind to be able to watch that, or I will. I've actually thrown something across my room watching that episode before, because of how angry it's made me. I know that sounds really stupid, but that is how invested I get in watching things. And yes, I've got to make sure that I'm in the right frame of mind to watch that. But it is an absolutely amazing episode, and I think that it was very well written.
Yeah, and let's see. Let's say I got so many things on my screen here right now. Let's see, yeah, my number four talking about all this that I've maybe shared this before, but I did not see the teaser for this episode, and I screamed at the start. Cause and
Yeah,
effect. My
see,
mom
I
thought,
love that.
and say that seeing that well, it wasn't that explosion from, but it just like I rightfully freaked out when the Enterprise blew up at the opening moments of the episode. I was like, it just one of those memories that's forever seared in my mind. And but it's like, and then when it came back after, let's say the ship blew up, we're still doing opening credits. What the frick? So
Yeah,
back, the Enterprise is like, so it's like, what the heck? And it just goes on, and then it blows up. And then it took me a while to even comprehend this episode. I think this is before the Bill Murray movie came out, if I'm not mistaken. So this is like one of the. I've never done any research on it. I should have before this episode, but this kind of set the stage for a lot of Groundhog Day episodes for a lot of
yeah,
TV series. Like the Flash comes to mind when Barry and Iris keep on reliving the day over and over and over and over again. But
and also the
they try
episode of Stargate SG-1 as well.
a window of opportunity. That is a
Yeah,
good
window of
episode.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely love this episode, and I actually thought of this episode today, because I watched a couple of my favorite episodes before the show, and one of them, it was a TNG episode. I won't mention it until we get to it. But they were playing poker, and when they were dealing the cards, I actually had flashbacks of cause and effect. When Riker was dealing the cards, for some reason, all that came to my head was, because isn't that the episode where he ends up dealing all the threes and like three of a kind? And
yeah, well, Data dealt those hands.
Yeah, I know, but it just, for some reason, it just came back to me, and I'm just like, why am I thinking of that episode when I'm watching this? But yeah, I really do love that episode. And one thing that I do want to ask though, Dave, is it from you that Boimler got his scream? Well, you said that you screamed when you saw this episode, and I was just wondering if somebody overheard it and they kept it all these years.
All those years. Yeah, I don't know, but I haven't been able to duplicate the screen. But like my mom was in the kitchen in the other room, and she just dropped everything, ran into the living room wondering what was wrong, and I just like, the Enterprise blew up, and she's like, okay, whatever, and she went back into the kitchen.
How rude.
Yeah,
that was a monumental moment.
Yeah, so I got that's how deeply entrenched I was into Trek culture when I was still a teenager.
Yeah, I think that is a very good choice for slot 4.
So what do you three guys think?
I'll be back in a minute.
Travis, Phil, Hugo,
what do you say? That was actually kind of on my list, Ty, because I know one of my favorite TNG episodes was Time Zero, and we kind of covered that one. So I just sort of wrote it underneath, and I tried to pick another one because it's hard to pick another good favorite, and that was one that actually came to mind was Cause and Effect. So because it's funny you mentioned that. I remember sitting and watching that with some friends of mine because we were in college at the time. And I went to my friend's place because it was Star Trek night, and we'd all watch when there was a new episode. And my friend had just gotten back from like a really bad day. He just was not in a good mood. He just kind of wanted to sit down and watch Star Trek, and then the Enterprise blows up, and he was just pissed. He walked out of the room. He was so mad. But yeah, I remember that.
See, I was just freaking out. Just say, but yeah, Dave, that was days before the internet, so you didn't get spoilers. If you missed that little next time on Star Trek Generation, if you missed that, you won't know what the heck's going to happen next week. And for whatever reason, I missed that teaser.
No.
But yeah, like some of the other nuances, things like especially with Beverly, with her pruning her flowers, hearing the voices,
Yeah.
and all that other stuff, and and Jonathan Frakes directed this episode, and he did a phenomenal job of, with each loop he tried different angles.
Yes.
With the camera, like they did that high shot above the conference room table.
Yeah.
Say the different angles on the bridge as everything starts blowing up, as the ship itself blew up a couple of different ways during the whole thing. But of course, the strike on the nacelle, that was always the same.
Somebody on TikTok who's like a big Trek fan. He's an Irish fella, and he's a big Trek fan. He just actually reviewed that one. And I have to see if I can find it, because he said it was one of his favorite episodes, but there was something about that he said it was the one thing that drives him nuts that doesn't make sense about it, is that because they were trying to use the tractor beam, and it still hit the ship. And he says he says, I wish they'd kind of explained why it didn't work. He says, because technically that should have worked, but for some reason it didn't.
No.
Well, say the trajectory. It had probably something to do with the trajectory. They thought it would work, but it didn't work. It didn't have enough momentum, but
they left it too late to use the tractor beam. They left it too late, and that's why.
I'll have to find the video again.
But yes,
it just goes to show how powerful decompressing a shuttle bay is.
Oh yes, especially that's the only time we've ever seen the main shuttle bay in the entire series. Oh. It was just the doors and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Phil sent me a screenshot of Spock's screaming pain as he's mind melding with the Horta. But yeah, so that is it for number 4. Do we want to go with let's mix up a little bit. Let's go to Hugo's number 3, because it's a little I like this choice. A Quality of Mercy. It's a great and that timey-wimey episode. It's a great, and it kind of delves into an original series episode, The Balance of Terror, which we were talking about. I think someone mentioned that even earlier in the episode here. So why did you choose that episode, Hugo?
So look, when I was thinking about my list, one of the key components I was thinking about was I didn't want it to all just be like, oh, TNG episode after TNG episode after TNG episode. And so I was trying to think of newer episodes that really struck a chord. And A Quality of Mercy is just one that takes a classic TOS episode, turns it on its head, and asks the question, what would happen, if Pike was there instead of Kirk? What would have changed? What events would have happened? And it, despite the fact that it's a little bit more modernized and everything, it is a fun look at that and what the different trains could have happened there to get a different outcome than what we got in the original series. And it's just a fun look at things. And we got to see the Monster Maroons in an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
Just a lot of great choices to show the different captaining styles of Pike and Kirk and how that situation differently. We have so many captains across Star Trek. It's very rare that we get to see them interact in the same kind of situation and see how each captain would, interact with that thing, and to see them the way that now that we've seen the way that both Kirk and Pike would go at the challenges faced in an episode.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
really
see-
do
see-
love that episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like Kirk. I don't. I mean, I kind of started warming towards Paul Wesley as Kirk, but I don't like Paul Wesley, so I'm very much struggling. But I am kind of starting to like his interpretation of Kirk, because Paul Wesley isn't a stuck-up, arrogant bastard like William Shatner is. But you know, I like the what if episodes, kind of like alternate timeline episodes, what could be, and yeah, again, another very powerful episode, and that is a very good choice for slot 3.
Oh, and yeah, see, the biggest what if of the what if episode is Pike already knows his fate, because from the Discovery episode that he sees that his future he's going to be confined to that beeping wheelchair. But he's saying, what if I'm able to sidestep that? What if I'm able to change my future? They say that just causes other problems. And say so instead of Pike getting horribly disfigured, Spock gets horribly disfigured, and that just puts the entire timeline into a tailspin. So I think it was that episode where Pike is resigned to his fate. That he's okay. If this is what has to be, this is what it's going to have to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that is a very, very good choice for slot 3. Because I love Strange New Worlds.
On the time crystal thing and the fact that he knows his time, I think it's also an interesting introspective idea that like, even if he saves those cadets, even if he manages to save everyone and everything, he saves himself and everything, it still doesn't match the untold amount of lives that would be lost because of his surviving into that timeline and piloting the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which episode was that again? That was
I think that was the first season finale, if I'm not mistaken. Or it's either the finale or the penultimate episode.
What was it called again?
A Quality of Mercy.
Quality of Mercy. Season 1, episode 10.
It was.
Okay, so it was the season finale.
That was that one. You guys are picking the same ones as me again. Not to go with another one. I think I need some extras here. So,
well, hopefully mine are going to be vastly different, because my number one, I'm surprised myself with my number one choice, but we'll get to that later. Do you want to go, Katie, or say, because it sounded like Phil has to scramble for a different choice for his number 3.
Yeah, let me just bring something up.
So we'll go with Katie's Measure of a Man, which we talked about a while back on this episode. Really, really strong episode for Data, which of course has repercussions into Picard's first season. But why did you make Measure of Man your number 3, Katie? Other than kind of what I might have mentioned.
Well, in all honesty, if it wasn't for my number 1 being allowed, this would have probably been my number 1. But I put it at number 3 for a couple of reasons, and that is the number 2 that I've chosen, the mood that I'm in today, is, but this is probably one of my favorite TNG episodes. Because it delves into so much. It brings up humanity's history, the possibilities of going forward into the future and repeating the same mistakes again. And I mean, everyone knows that Data is like my favorite all-time Star Trek character. and this was a very pivotal episode for him. Just right down to the things that he packed when he resigned his commission. I mean, that melted my heart. It is, you know, his medals, the book from Jean-Luc, and then the hollow image of Tasha. And I'm but you know, I think for me that this was the first time that we saw Data's humanity properly. This was like, up until then he'd been very back hit his back. But this was like the first time that we saw him for more than an android, really. And this was the episode where I'm just like, yeah, Data does have emotion. And everyone told me, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He's an android. He doesn't have emotion. And he showed emotion in this episode. And I don't care what anyone says, he did. And, you know, in order to have friendship, you have to have emotion. In order to miss someone, there has to be emotion there. And he said to Geordie that he was going to miss him. And the book from Jean-Luc, you know, it was a symbol and a memory of friendship. And Data was worried about his own life ending. And then when it came to the hollow image of Tasha, the look on his face, and it was almost, but not quite, like a little bit of not necessarily embarrassment, but I can't quite grasp the words, but he wanted so much to keep his word to Tasha. And just that tiny little portion of that entire scene melts my heart. And it was in that moment when I started harping on at everyone about Data does have emotion. And he showed it in this episode. He showed his humanity and his potential in this episode. And don't get me wrong, that stupid dickhead in blue, I can't remember his name, but I wanted to wring his neck so much. He was so disrespectful. And
Well,
I really felt
my brain's drawing a blank all
Yeah,
of a sudden
that-
too.
that commander.
Bruce Maddox, right?
Bruce Maddox.
Bruce Maddox, thank you very gladly. But yeah, I wanted to wring his neck so much. And so much more. And I really felt for Riker in what he had to do, because like the look on his face when he deactivated Data, he did not want to do that. And I every time I watch that episode, I almost cry when I watch that, because don't get me wrong, Jonathan Frakes plays that so well. He really does. And you can see it in his eyes, his body language, the tone of his voice. He's devastated that he's having to do that. But he knows that he's got a job to do. And I really feel for him in this. And the power in this episode, the conversation between Guinan and Jean-Luc was very, very intense and very deep. Exploring basically past history, repeating the same mistakes, slavery, and taking away people's rights and everything. There was so much in this episode, and that's why it's at my number 3.
Right on. Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites too. Doesn't make my top 5 personally, but yeah, it's definitely one of the higher rated episodes. And not only that, especially considering with all the crap that Hollywood was going through with the writer's strike that year. They're saying the season came out late. There was some rushed jobs. They were recycling a lot of Star Trek Phase 2 scripts that were designed for the original reboot that ended up turning into the motion picture. But yeah, to have it come around and put a modern spin to it. But then there's the season finale is one of the worst episodes of the series. Not the worst, but it was pretty close to the very bottom of the barrel. It's nothing more than a clip show because they had to save money. They have already blown their budget for the season, so they said whatever. But the 3rd season came
Was
around.
that Shades of Grey?
Yes.
Yay, go me!
Yay,
Sorry, I'm all proud when I remember something. I don't like that episode. I don't know why people don't like. I don't know why people don't like it. 'Cause I actually like that episode. It's unique, and I do need to watch it again. But I'm sure that's the episode that I really like that everybody hates.
Like I said, it's nothing but just a glorified clip show. But I think everyone can agree with me. Probably the bottom of the barrel is saying the episode that probably has not aged well at all is Code of Honor from season 1.
Oh, absolutely.
I can see a visible frown on Travis's face, I think.
Yeah, we should. Do you know how you said about carrying this on later in the year and doing like 6 to 10? We should also do like our bottom 5 as well.
Maybe
that wasn't aging well the day after it aired. That one did not.
No.
Yeah.
Who's number 3 do we still have to do?
Let's see. Well, we just did Hugo. So say Phil, I think, is trying to scramble to come up with another one. You're muted.
I mean, unless like I said, it was kind of cause and effect as well, and everybody kind of said everything. So unless you want to count that, I guess, or I can try and squeeze in the other one. I'll throw it real quick, just real short. One I did enjoy because I watched it again a couple of weeks ago was a Lower Decks episode, Starbase 80, and I got a kick out of that. I really enjoyed that one. That was a fun episode because so many little Easter eggs all in the background. Like you've got to watch that episode really carefully.
That is just chock full of Easter eggs.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that made Lower Decks great. Is that just like, and you really have to know your Star Trek to get a lot of that stuff. And I've actually when talking to people about Star Trek and all that, just like, give Lower Decks a try. If you haven't watched a lot of like the earlier episodes going back to the 60s, you might not be able to get everything, but that might get you interested in looking at some of those episodes.
What's fun about that episode too, and I didn't realize until sometime after, like until a repeat viewing, was just how the fact that this place was so run down and nothing worked, that everything, all the tech that you're used to using is all of a sudden gone. And it kind of made me realize, imagine just like when like the power goes out, or you don't have all your regular things you use. If you didn't have a microwave or a fridge or something, you can't do the things you normally want to do. So when you don't, do you know what I mean? Like it was just funny that they had to really think their way through.
Yeah, saying so. If you can't think of anything, lick the wall.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Saying Travis, did you give us your number 3? I already
You
forgot.
muted, Travis.
Say what?
Did you give us your number 3? So that kind of mixed it up and went out of order that go around.
My number 3, because when I went back and rewatched it years ago, because I seen it as a kid, but it just didn't really dawn on me until as I got older, I rewatched it and stuff and everything. It's a TOS episode called Amok Time.
Mm. Oh,
And
we're going to kill Katie before the end of this episode.
huh?
We're going to kill Katie before the end of this
Poor
episode because
Katie.
my number 3 is a TOS episode as well.
Yeah.
It's so much of I love you guys.
Don't worry, Katie. No more of mine are TOS.
Oh, I
And
love
mine's not
you.
really. It was just a movie, so it doesn't even really count.
No. Go on, Travis.
Amok Time. It really highlighted the one thing that people that really gave us an insight on Vulcan or the Vulcans mating. Their 7 years of mating and stuff and everything else. It started out McCoy approached the captain and say, hey, the Spock being a little strange and stuff, and they were standing outside his quarters and stuff and everything. Was it Nurse Chapel ended up taking him some plummet soup, and they were still McCoy and the doctor was still this was in the opening. They were just standing there talking about Spock, and all of a sudden you heard just this yelling, and the door opened up, and all this stuff just came thrown at the bulkhead and stuff. And Nurse Chapel was just like so frightened and everything else. And it was just like all of a sudden Spock came out enraged and everything else. And it's just like, what the hell's going on with Spock? Why is he so angry? And even Kirk could not ignore that. He just was like, and stuff like that. But he was trying to convince them without telling them that he needs to get back to Vulcan as soon as possible, without actually saying why he did, because it was a private matter and stuff. And it gave us the insight on like the Vulcans and stuff and everything else. It's like, they are a very logical species and stuff, but like, biology, when that comes, oh man, they turn into just some almost bloodthirsty Klingons in some ways, if they don't go through the mating rituals and stuff, or whatever happened and stuff. And it really highlighted that these a very logical species end up having to fight biology, and they can't win, and biology always seems like they always win sometime. The Vulcans have a way of they take on a mate or they fight it out. But Amok Time, it was a really good episode that I really enjoyed, and I remember seeing throughout my childhood from
and this was the episode that also gave Zoidberg's people their national anthem.
I have a question.
Zoidberg, oh my goodness.
Dun, 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 dun.
Go, Katie. Yeah.
I mean, there are much bigger questions here, but I need to ask it. With the Ponfar only happening like once every 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean that Vulcans only have at it once every 7 years? Or is that basically the only time they can produce offspring?
I think it's maybe a little bit of both.
That's what I was thinking. A little bit of both, in a sense, because they are not. You never heard Vulcans doing random hookups.
Apart from
Yeah.
Paul.
Mm-hmm. But maybe that's when their libido is at their peak.
Yeah.
Is at during Ponfar, because that's when they just start going bonkers, pretty much.
Because it's something, I mean, like minus to Paul, you know, because she was a very different breed of Vulcan. But it always makes me wonder, and I've always wanted to ask this question, you know, is the only time they have a sex life like once every 7 years during the Pon farr, or is that the only time that they can basically produce offspring? And, you know, because that would explain a lot if they only had at it once every 7 years.
I would say that, you know, most likely too, because they never, it's never really explained. The Star Trek lore is never really explained in.
So basically, it's kind of like
Death.
Basically the Pon farr is like a release of pent-up emotion sort of thing.
Yeah,
That's what I'm reading into it. The way Phil posted it about it there.
yeah.
Google.
Yeah,
and that makes sense too for a species who they have emotional control on their, you know, on their emotions. You know, they do have emotion, but they do not act on it. We know at a certain point, you know, Vulcans are trained at a young age to suppress their emotion, but learn, because we've seen that when Tuvok was with a Vulcan master, and he went through, and he even mentioned too, when he first took his Pon farr, when he started going through the Pon farr his first time, and he took a mate, was at T'Pel. And you know, shortly after that, their first child was born, and then, you know, another 7 years later, their second child was born. You know, so it seemed like, you know, it happens only every 7 years that they will most likely have children. Now, I may be wrong. I mean, anybody watching this, you know, can correct me and stuff and everything. But Vulcans can live up to, we've seen Sarek up to over 200 years old. So it would make sense that, you know, every 7 years, that window, that little bit of window of opportunity for them to have children is there, to release their built up, you know, aggression, to get it out. No pun intended, but
I imagine it's like a biological need. Like they can screw around whenever they want to produce children, but every 7 years they have to try to produce children to like keep their species
yes.
alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the equivalent of a dog in heat, really.
Yeah, you can catch the
Yeah.
dog screw whenever, but they're going to have heat when they're going to want to do it.
Yeah.
What is it? What's the shirt that I've seen? Playing on the streets of Vulcan in the sheets.
Ha! Ha!
No, mine would probably be the other way around.
Vulcans in the sheets. Oh goodness.
Although I wouldn't like to watch because I'm not a voyeur, but it'd be interesting to see a Vulcan during Pon farr with a Klingon.
Oh my.
I'm sorry, but that would be
we almost did in Voyager.
Well, yeah. Do you know what? Blood Fever nearly made it into my top 5.
Star Trek 3 kind of did that.
Well,
I was gonna say, do anybody remember in the TOS episode called Timescape? They LaForge, Troy, Picard, and Data was coming back in a runabout, and they was attending a conference and stuff and everything. And Troy was talking about she met, you know, a person who was a special on interspecies mating rituals. And of course, he accosted her and asked her, will he, I think his name was Dr. Mazan. And he's very well known for interspecies mating and stuff and everything else. And according to LaForge, he's notorious, but he's really good. He's really he's really effective at diluting or whatever you want to say about interspecies mating practices and stuff and everything. So
would you come to my quarters for some empirical research? It's some
Diane.
Diane.
He took on the title after Kirk got lost in the Nexus. Someone had to do it, right? Someone had to go out there.
Look, then Data say but then Data being Dage's like, did you help him? And she's like, hell no.
Right. No, I didn't, But yeah, I mean, like I said, Amok Time was like it's one of my top. It's like my top 3 and everything else because we seen that about the about Vulcans and stuff and everything else. But needless to say, I don't want to keep us everything. We got to keep moving along.
Well, like say, I did label this episode as an extra large episode since we had so many ones to talk about. There are still 5 slots available for people that want to come on live on camera or on the microphone. If you want to chime in on your thoughts on the choices that we've made, some choices that you think episodes should be on this list, click the link below, hit
click the like and subscribe.
Yeah, then that way you can be up to date on all this stuff. So, and I don't know about the rest of you guys, but this is the only TOS on my list. The Doomsday Machine.
Ooh,
I say there's just like so much going on in this episode that I like. When I watch a TOS episode, this is the one I often just go to the most because that's the last one that's queued up, but it's that good.
Yeah,
I enjoy watching it time and time again.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Apologies, I have been up since 4:00 this morning. It's almost 9:00 local time right now. Say it took the one of the owners of the sober house to the airport. He was even questioning why his flight was booked so early because his superior actually booked the flight. So probably because it saved a few bucks, but but you're just like, yeah, it's been a long day for me. Sorry. But it deals with a lot. It deals with post-traumatic stress when Decker lost the entire crew of his ship when he dropped them off planet side to run away from this doomsday device, and only to find out that it just went right for the planet, and he's dealing with stress and grief of he felt responsible for killing his entire crew. And
it was a sad. It was in some ways sad because you had to deal with that, and he was just he was unhinged. He unhinged.
He promptly lost his shit, and he's just like when he was called out, it's just like don't you think I knew that? And he's recalling the events of what happened up to that point, and then he thinks he's got another Constitution class starship. He's going to finish what he started, and Spock is like, you're not doing that with this ship. It's like, I'm a Commodore. I outrank you. Say your captain's not on this ship. I'm in charge. It's my way or the highway. It goes right back to a lot of the personality traits that I have had growing up, and even well into adulthood. Just like I'm going to do this. I don't care what anybody else thinks. But Spock pulls the plug on him, just quoting regulations, which, I mean, was that maybe the first time we've heard that Vulcans do not bluff? I don't think we've heard that saying before that point. She's like, you wouldn't do. But Scotty, total miracle worker, trying to get the transporters to work on the Enterprise. Jury rigged Constitution to be able to.
That's what I said. That's what I said about
it along.
Yeah, that's another episode that you show Scotty the Miracle Man. It just really just shows that well, that's why I picked Relic. It's like, oh wow, Scotty. Scotty's always been that kind of beloved character throughout the franchise.
Yeah, but towards the climax of the episode where Scotty has rigged the warp core to explode after a certain amount of time, when Kirk flips the switch, you just flip that switch, you're good to go. You can't stop it. And so Scotty beams over, no problem. Say Kirk flips the switch and say, "Beam them on, guys," and boom, the things blow up on the Enterprise, and Kirk's like, gentlemen, beat me aboard." He's like, "Get me out of here. I'm not ready to die." And of course, two things. One, they beam him at the last possible second.
Oh,
He's still beaming in after the ship blows up. But secondly, at least in Alpha Canon, at least on TV, in the movies, we never get to figure out where this thing came from, other than it came from outside the galaxy somewhere.
yeah, there was no history on this.
Yeah, just like one of many episodes in the Star Trek history that it's a one and done alien. Those little parasites and conspiracy from the first season of Next Generation, we never heard from them ever again. We never heard from those aliens from Schisms ever again. So it's just like, yeah, one of these days, I'd like to see an alien of the week that we never hear from again come to fruition down the road sometime. With the new Starfleet Academy, might. Doubtful, but you never know.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Although we have the aliens with the big brains from TOS. We saw them again in
The
Television.
Telosians.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw them when Katie, because we all kind of butted in when you kept on talking.
Season 2 of Discovery.
Oh,
when
yeah.
Michael was looking for Spock, and
Oh yeah.
he took him there.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've seen season 2 of Discovery, so thanks for that little tidbit. You went up to me. Yeah, that
Not
was
often.
actually, yeah, but yeah, they were well, they Matt, Katie. Was that the fourth time, fifth time tonight?
I don't even know. I blame Zach. Just because he's not here, I blame Zach. He jinxed me last week.
Oh, we'll start off with Katie again. Her number 2, another. Actually, no, I think we talked about this with reading Warp Core back in the day. Is Endgame. Why did you choose this for your number 2, Katie?
Because it is epic, and Voyager finally makes it home in the end, but there's so much going on in this episode, and I like how it flips back and forth. It starts off in the future. Voyager's been home for 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows a lot of what could have been, but there was too much loss, and it was very bittersweet. And the way that it was like going back and forth, the emotion in the episode, the only thing that I don't like about this episode is that the pathogen that was used to take down the Queen, obviously it came from Echeb, for fuck's sake. Obviously that pathogen came from Echeb's DNA, and it was never mentioned. And we only saw him for a few minutes at the beginning.
Which was a travesty for the character.
Yeah, and you know, like I say, that pathogen obviously came from his DNA. But I mean, and it was quite evident that it did, especially because of what it caused. But the arguments between Captain Janeway and Admiral Janeway, and you know, each of them facing off with their own stubbornness, and I mean, you know, the Borg finally being taken down. And I mean, I just, that, like, when, like, back at Starfleet, when they got the readings of Transwarp Conduit, and they had so many ships in the fleet right there, and the sphere came out and exploded and Voyager just flew out of it. That was probably one of the best scenes that I've seen in Trek. And it was done so beautifully, and what a welcome home for them. You know, they had an escort from a shit ton of the fleet back to Earth. But yeah, there was so much going on in this episode, but it was done so wonderfully, and it was the end of their journey. And I adore it. That there's just, yeah, I could watch that every day. It is probably my favorite Voyager episode, in all honesty, on par with Imperfection and Child's Play. I absolutely love, I mean, I love the Borg episodes anyway. I really do. Especially with Voyager. I know we saw some of the Borg, like we was introduced to the Borg in TNG, but the three double episodes in Voyager, Dark Frontier, Unimatrix Zero, and Endgame, that they are all epic episodes with so much going on. But Endgame for me won out on the three because it was monumental, and also the B plot of it with B'Elanna going into labor, and just when she just like screamed at the doctor, that was just, you see, that as well, it kind of brings back bittersweet memories. But you know, just seeing B'Elanna in labor and her having contractions, it brings back memories of when my daughter was born. And you know, it always makes me smile. And they took big risks. It was a very high risk episode as well, which I always love. And the Doctor always being inquisitive and trying to get information from the future, like, oh, what else did I invent? You know, just the Doctor being the Doctor.
But with
yeah.
the time, with Voyager getting to Earth early, did the Doctor end up still inventing those things?
this is the question as well, you know, and
Well, maybe we'll get some of those answers with Starfleet Academy since the Doctor's going to be a central character in the new series.
yeah, and I'm actually wondering something. The episode that we covered last week.
Yeah, no, it's Robert Picardo himself has divulged that this Doctor in this series is the OG Doctor. This is the Voyager Doctor, not the backup.
Oh, that's okay then. No, I was just wondering about that, but
It'll
no,
be interesting. It'll be
would like
interesting
to.
if it'll be interesting if they brought him the backup in an episode or two. That would be interesting. It would kind of detract from the central core of the series, but you never know. Maybe that'll be a season 2 storyline.
Yeah, but I mean, I do love Endgame. There's so much going on, and I mean that armor is beautiful, and the torpedoes that on it's so beautiful, and I mean I love the graphics in this as well. I mean the transwarp hub, that in itself is stunning. And yeah, it was epic, and that's why I've put it at my number 2, because I mean, you know, next week I may have a completely different top 5, but you know, just today that had to be put in the number 2 slot.
Right on. Yeah, say, but what that you're talking about with the Doctor, say the scene you were talking about earlier about with B'Elanna going to labor, that early scene from the last episode where you're in Tom and B'Elanna's quarters and B'Elanna's like, Tom, it's time. It's a time for what? It's like, I'll give you 3 guesses. And he's like, he's scrambling. He's running out the door. He's calling the doctor. They say, bring this, bring that. And it's like, should I bring B'Elanna? It's like, and the doctor's like, her too. Just so like monotone and deadpan. It just,
yeah.
Just
yeah,
like that.
I love that scene. Yeah, I absolutely adore that scene, and the fact that they had a poll going. It was basically birth bingo. It was brilliant. I love that. But yeah, I the only thing that kind of like would have made it even better is, I mean, I understand why, but is if Tom stayed at the helm. I don't like the fact that Chakotay took the helm. I don't. I understand why Tom left the bridge because his daughter had just been born. But I mean, just the fact that the doctor called through to the bridge and you heard the baby, and you know he announced it to the entire bridge. It just goes to show how close they all are, rather than just making a personal communication to Tom. It was for all of them, and that kind of made me melt a little bit as well. There's a lot of emotion in this episode, and I mean, gotta love Alice as the Borg Queen.
Yeah, that's probably the big thing, that she was able to come back to portray the Borg Queen, which she did by voice for Picard season 3, which I thought was awesome. Even though there was a different actress playing the mangled remains of what happened to the Queen in this episode. So it was a crippling blow to the Borg after that.
Yeah, I mean, Alice will always be my queen. She always will. Even though Susanna Thompson, she did a brilliant job in Dark Frontier and Unimatrix Zero. She really did. And I am not taking that away from her because she played that beautifully. But Alice has always been my Borg Queen.
But Susanna Thompson playing the Borg Queen has played a lot of great fanfic memes. I posted one earlier today. It's got the Frasier cast on the bridge of Voyager because they did do that years ago. But it's just like when the Borg Queen pops up on the screen, like Niles is like,
yeah.
But yeah, Susanna Thompson, she's played a lot of great roles in television history with Voyager, with Frasier, with Arrow,
DS9.
DS9, yeah.
Yeah, NCIS.
Couple episodes there. But yeah, we're at the 2-hour mark and we still got a couple of slots to go. So, but anyone else that's still watching, if you want to put in your 2 cents, don't hesitate to pop in the chat over there. Jump online with the streamer link in the description below. Say, Travis, what's your number 2? You're gonna say something, Katie?
No, I was just gonna say I think we should get Travis's last 2 because he's got to go.
Oh, say that again. I'm sorry.
No, she was saying if you need to go, you can do your number 2 and your number 1 all at once.
Oh, no. My number 2. Oh, I had it written down. Yeah, I got because I was like, oh my goodness, because I gotta get up early and stuff. It's a big day at work. My number 2, really would. It's a TNG episode. It was actually in season 5, if I'm not mistaken. Season 6. It was season 6. It was called Tapestry.
Season 6.
Yes.
It was a really it really showed, and it was really well written stuff. Tapestry was one of those episodes that was really well written in the sense of showing. That's why I need to go because I'm literally like, trying to force myself to stay awake and everything.
Yeah,
but
we'll crank through these last couple of ones, but it's another what if episode too.
Yes, that's what I'm gonna say. It shows Picard in a way where we only heard him tell Wesley this story in season 2. Yes, he told this particular episode and stuff, and you never even thought Hugh of all. It's like, is this Picard's not so much afterlife, but like in that space between the afterlife and real life and everything else, and where you can see, like you just said, the what if and everything else, and it was like the young Picard. And I just love that they had the Monster Maroons that they bought. They showed them in their young form that Starfleet was still using but they took away the turtleneck. They still had like an undershirt, but they took away the turtleneck, and it showed how long they continue to use the, as people will call it, the Khan era uniforms, from the TOS all the way into TNG at a certain point in the stuff. But it really shows that if Picard did things differently when he was at that bar against the Nausicaans, and he's not a risk taker, he didn't take risks and stuff like that and everything else, what happens if he played it safe? And it really highlighted the way it was written on this Picard versus Picard we knew. It was like he did not like the way it turned out. Like he was just running reports to this that. He was kept in a very safe place, and it showed him, in a sense, the things that he did, why he did, and the reason why he did, made an outcome, whether it was, good or bad. He took the risk. you know. So, you know, Tapestry was my number 2. So, but
What about you, Phil?
oh, he's still muted. You're muted, Phil.
This is where it was getting a little bit hard for me, was trying to pick the last two because it was so many, and some of them are starting to blur together if you haven't watched them in a long time. One of them I did pick because I remember it creeped me out when I first saw it, and I haven't seen it in ages, but it was Schisms, and I think Dave, you just mentioned it a minute ago. But that was one I
Yes,
thought
it
would have made
was.
a good Halloween episode. I don't know if you guys ever did. I was gone for that, but
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, we did it a couple of weeks ago.
it was I remember it was when I first time we watched it again was that Star Trek night during college, and we're all sitting watching it. Man, you could have heard a pin drop during that entire episode. It was so weird and so creepy, and I just remember like hanging on the edge in every moment of that just to find out what the hell was going on. And we're on the holodeck with that one light over top of it, and it was just gave me chills watching that. I remember the first time seeing that. So that was one that always really stuck out in my mind. So I added that to my list. It's been a while since I've seen it though, but
Yeah, so I see. Yeah,
Travis,
I have.
you're muted. Travis.
I said the one thing that got me was the clicking. The
Oh yeah.
Oh, that
great. Yeah.
it just make you like it's like cicadas
Yeah.
or something. It just yeah.
And yet, do you know what? I actually found that really relaxing.
It's not in that kind of setting.
Okay.
You see, if you don't think of it as like creepy aliens in the dark, and you just actually close your eyes and just listen to the sound.
ASMR.
If you have it on ASMR, exactly. If you have it on a low volume, it's actually really relaxing.
That's funny.
But yeah, I love Schisms. It's a really good episode. See, I love creepy stuff. I find it really, really relaxing watching creepy stuff.
Yeah. Even if something gives me the creeps, if it's a good story, then I kind of enjoy it. Like I want to know what's going on, and it was such a good mystery. So, but it's been ages since I've seen it. I just remember the cloaked thing at the end with that was making the clicking sounds. It was like,
Yeah, just.
But I think you never do find out who they really were, though. Right? Like that was one that was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the episodes where just like we never figured out where they were from, but see, Living Witness, Yesterday's Enterprise, Duet, Type Zero. No, it's a lot long. Did we do? No. I should have done Schisms for the Halloween episode, but instead we did something else.
Oh, yeah, we did Night Terrors, didn't we?
No, we haven't done Night Terrors either, but yeah, Schisms. I'm looking at the old episodes. Yeah, I don't think we've ever. I could have sworn we did Schisms.
I was talking about it, but I think you ended up going with a different one. It was I forget which one you did end up doing. I was gone during that period. I had to work, so.
I'm sure we've done Schisms. I'm sure we have.
Have we?
Yeah, I'm looking at all the episodes we've done since going on YouTube. So yeah, Armageddon, Lower Decks, Heart of Stone, Death Witch, Night at Six, Basic Space. Yeah, we've done Parallels, done Acquisition.
I could have sworn we've done.
I think we kind of talked about scenes from the episode, but we actually haven't done the episode itself.
Okay.
So yeah, we have not done that. Yeah. Okay. Hugo would say he kind of just did his thing. We put Chain of Command for number 2 for you. Good 2-part episode. That's kind of like the springboard for Deep Space Nine. because
Yeah,
that aired in the TNG just a couple weeks before DS9 premiered.
it's kind of a view into the cruelty of the Cardassians. You know, I it's kind of what I love about Chain of Command is, it starts off with like the idea of them going on a secret mission, and one of them gets caught. Right? The morality play on the Enterprise between the loyal crew that's loyal to Picard, even though Jellicoe doesn't want to go back and save him and do anything. He just wants to do the mission that he's been given. Everything. And then the other side of that being Picard struggling to live through the torture that he's enduring. And in a way, finding more about what's great about the scenes between him and the Cardassian torturer is that throughout it, you also get an ideology of the Cardassian and how it's just a part of their society. There's just an odd dynamic there, a struggle that they're going through as well. Have a good night, Travis.
Yeah, say Travis, if you just want to send me a quick text like your reasoning for your number one choice, I'll read it to the others when we round robin back to your number. Well, actually, no, we don't. No, I don't have your number one.
My number one is something that no one will expect.
What's that?
It's from Deep Space Nine. It's called Far Beyond the Stars.
That's a good episode.
It's,
Not one of my top five, but it's a good episode. Definitely an honorable mention. My
for
book,
me,
yeah.
for me in particular, I'm a black man. This was centered in this was basically a fiction of a black man in the 1960s. How black people were treated and how it was in a sense saw that Cisco was this guy named Benny, and stuff. He was a science fiction writer, stuff like that. And they told him all kinds of things and stuff and everything. And in this particular episode too, not particular, I say particular episode, but this is the only episode in the entire franchise of Star Trek that you will hear the NIGGER word drop by Sarah Lofton, who played Jake Sisko in that particular episode. His name was Jimmy, and he dropped the N word as a point to remind Benny, no matter how much you try to blend in, people was always going to see you as that word and stuff and everything. Yeah. And then it rounded off at the end because Cisco was under, I guess, one of those
orbs.
Not hallucinations. Yes. That his father visited the station for the first time. He left Earth. He visited them, and it just happened to, his son went into one of these spasms and stuff and everything else, and he was there with Jake and everything else to see him through this. And it was just one of those things where this really hit home for me in a sense because they told a story, like I said, of a time where people of color was not the forefront of science fiction or writing comics or stuff like that and everything else. And it was one of those things where the actors themselves was just playing, themselves. They wasn't in makeup or costumes or, just you saw all, you saw Armin Shimmerman just as himself, not as Quark. Odo, as the, news editor and stuff and everything else. You saw all this, Michael Dorn. He was not in the Klingon makeup and everything else. But what really hit home too was just when the episode was ending, Cisco was looking out the window. His reflection was Benny. He didn't see him himself. He saw himself as Benny. and stuff and everything else. So that's why I myself picked this particular episode from Deep Space Nine. For me, far beyond the stars, as my number one pick of Star Trek series of all times and stuff and everything else.
It's a very powerful episode. There's a lot of very powerful episodes in our top 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, my
I think what makes
number
that one even more powerful is.
Oh, go ahead, Hugo.
I just think what makes that one even more powerful is like Star Trek tackles racism a lot. It's a common thread, and usually when we see racism in Star Trek, it is through the lens of alien species. We as humans are looking at the alien species and saying, oh, that's crazy that they're doing that, and we're stepping in to stop it. But
Well, he froze there.
people with thoughts.
But no, I
sorry.
do completely agree.
Did any of that come through? Goodness gracious.
Yeah, everyone's audio is kind of weird tonight, so sorry about that. If others that are watching are hearing similar issues, hopefully it's just a StreamYard thing that'll get corrected for next week. But Travis, you go get some sleep, my friend. We'll talk to you on the flip side. Yeah, cue it up for 2 hours and 23 minutes so you can hear the rest of.
What was I want really quick? I just want to hear what everybody's name just before I go. I would just throw out what everybody's number one before I go. I just want to hear.
Well, I don't want to spoil it. Well, see, since I'm talking about my number 2 right now, since it's my turn, it's only a Paper Moon. Another very, very strong Deep Space Nine episode dealing with post-traumatic stress that Nog's got going through after losing his leg during the episode Siege of AR 558. And like with me, I'll just let you know real quick. My number 1, those old scientists. There's just so much stuff going on with that.
Right there.
But
you're muted.
But yeah, we'll talk more about that. But yeah. Ladies, number 1 is the entire 3rd season of Picard.
The entire 3rd season of Picard. Wow.
Because it's
just one long episode.
It's one 10-hour movie.
Yeah, and my top movie is obviously First Contact.
As mine.
Yeah.
But then Hugo's got In the Pale Moonlight, another. I mean, the DS9's dominating the lists.
That was Hugo. That was really on my list. Next to being either I picked Far Beyond the Stars or In the Pale Moonlight, but that was close to being right there as my number 1. I really enjoyed that.
I love how it. I love the morality of it all. We'll talk about that in a second, but.
Yeah, cue it up at 2:25, Travis. They can catch all our breakdowns on all that. So you have a good night.
All right, everybody, take care.
Love you, darling.
Everything, Dylan, stuff. Love you. Take care. Be safe, guys.
You too.
Sweet dreams.
All right. So as I say, my number 2, it's only Paper Moon. Say, I just the Siege of AR 558. I mean, that was a strong episode in of itself. Is the way Quark being the voice of reason in that episode. That was unusual. But with it's only a Paper Moon, you just got to deal with. War sucks.
Yeah.
And he's trying to find. I mean, they want to throw a big old party for him when he comes back from his rehab, but he's like, nope, just let me be, let me wallow in my own pity. I I see the alcoholic in me in Nog in this episode. It's just like I just want to retreat into my own little bubble. I want to drink. I just want to just like woe's me. I want to beat myself up. But he find he finds solace in the holosuite, and everyone thinks he's crazy. And of course, when Jake tries to pull him out of it, he lashes out,
Mhm.
and even Esri is questioning it at some point, but saying that I've been
Yeah.
in there. This seems to be working for him. Let him do his thing. But then when Vic, of all people, says, "You've given me so much, but I need to turn off. I need to go. You need to
Yeah.
go back to your real life." I mean, there are soldiers in the military that have spoken to Aaron Eisenberg about this, say that this episode has helped them with their trauma. They say they saw themselves in this TV character, saying you sold this. And a little side note, I mentioned it backstage. The actor Aaron Eisenberg would have turned 57 yesterday had he not uh, passed away from his kidney failure in September 2019. So it's crazy. It's been that long since we've lost him already. He's taken far too young.
Absolutely.
But yeah, saying just like the strong impact that he had with military that's dealing with PTSD, that's why it's number 2 on my list today.
Again, another very powerful episode that hits me in the feels really badly.
Mhm.
That episode.
It's kind of an interesting look in the Star Trek world because a lot of times in Star Trek, with the technology as it is, when something traumatic like that happens, you either get it fixed right away, and they've got a lot of fixes for a lot of things, and the idea that like you can't fix the grief that he has over losing his leg.
Mhm. Yeah, say shit
You're
like
either
that.
dead or you're fixed as new.
Well,
In
it
Star
not only
Trek.
that, like, and me with dealing with my alcoholism and all that, saying I can it's a struggle. It still hurts sometimes that saying I've been saying now that when I have a really good day at work, I want to have a drink to celebrate. When I have a really shit day, I want to drink to drown my sorrows in and want to forget the world. Jim and Jack were my 2 best friends that I confided in when I was having a bad day, which is not the friends you want to be talking with when you're at that point. But tomorrow's going to mark 600 days sober for me.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
It's still got a couple of months to go to get that 2-year chip, but it's on the horizon.
You have such strength. I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you, Dave.
Thank you. It's been a long road getting from there to here.
Oh, I love that song.
Eh.
Don't you me?
I think it's a great song, and it grows on you.
Yes.
Like season 3, I was like, let it play. I want to hear it all.
Well, they kind of mixed it up. They kind of gave it a more upbeat tempo midway through the series, like they did with Deep Space Nine. So,
See, I like both versions. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do prefer the full length version. I have that on my Spotify. But it's not your usual soundtrack for like the opening credits of Trek, but it fits with what Enterprise is. And so many people talk shit about it. And I would love for those people to come on this show because I would give them a piece of my mind. I really would, because, yes, it may be different. It may be like out of the zone for Trek, but it fits. The words to that song fit everything what Enterprise is. So, all you haters out there, me.
So we're on to number one, even though we've kind of already spoiled a little bit. So let's go with Katie's season 3 of Picard. And say I could hear the sigh of relief from you all the way here in Colorado when I said that yes, you can do the entire season for as one episode.
Honestly, if I had to choose one episode out of this series, I couldn't. I really couldn't, because for me, this is just like one huge epic episode, movie, however you want to look at it. And this is, I've recently done a rewatch of season 3 of Picard. I'm actually not too keen on season 1 and 2. I have watched them. I do like them, but I'm not all that keen. Whereas season 3, holy hell. I have not felt this way towards Trek. Well, I have. Star Trek First Contact. That is like my ultimate number one Star Trek anything. But season 3 of Picard was something else. Even right down to the lighting, the music, the storyline, everything. And Ed Spaliers, who plays Jack Crusher, he is amazing. I absolutely adore him, although I was very surprised to see him, because I only know him from Downton Abbey, which is a period drama. Oh, you can piss off. Don't rub it in. But I absolutely adore him, and he plays his role so well. And the way he plays it, you can see Picard in him. Yeah. And that is something to be very proud of, because, Patrick Stewart is probably one of the best actors that has graced our screens, that has graced the stage. And he brings all of that to Trek. And the fact that Ed Spaliers managed to play the role of his son and have us see pieces of Picard in him, that is just golden.
And the way Beverly explained away his British accent is just gold.
It is. It really is. And, the way that season 3 starts is so ominous and huge, and it keeps the pace throughout the season, throughout all the episodes. There's little lulls and that, but it never levels out. It's always up and down, and I love that about it. And it, like Picard's Ironic Syndrome, that turns out it isn't that. Yes, he died because of it, and that's why, he had to get a synthetic body, but it wasn't Ironic Syndrome. It was something done to him by the Borg.
That mimicked Ironic Syndrome, yep.
Yeah, and the hallucinations that Jack was having, the the way Seven was as well, that was brilliant. And I adore Todd Stashwick. I really do.
Yeah, but the way he kept on dead name in Seven was just...
Yeah. And I mean, he was a complete asshole. He really was.
Katie.
I can't be asked right now.
And monetized.
But you know, the way he played that role, he was such a dickhead. He was such an asshole. Yeah. But he played it so well, and it made me hate Shaw so much more, but it made me love him so much more as well. And especially when his trauma was revealed. Although that pissed me off, it still pisses me off to this day that everybody blames Picard for that when it wasn't his fault.
But the raw emotion that Stashwick put in that scene is just...
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, he's an amazing actor. He really is. And he is an amazing person. I mean, he actually does live coffee mornings on Instagram. And I've joined a few times. I've watched them. I've even asked him my biscuit question, and he answered. And that was a fun live. But no, he and like paying his final respects to Seven of Nine by calling her by her designation, like at his death, you know, that was, even now I still cry when I watch that scene, you know, because it's so important. And you know, the relationship between Worf and Raffi, that was just, you know, I mean, the way he introduced himself was just epic. And then he's just like, I've made some chamomile tea, would you like some? And I'm just like, after that really like epic introduction, then you offer chamomile tea? No. For fuck's sake. Tra-la-la-la-la. Let's try that again. But yeah, that is just, you know, and then when he starts saying he doesn't condone violence anymore, and then Riker's just like, we're all gonna die. And then like when they go onto the is it the Daystrom station?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they come face to face with Moriarty. But one thing that I always find so funny about that is when they first see the Crow, and Riker's just like, there's something familiar about that. And at first, when I watched it, it took me a minute to realize why he recognized it. But then I go back to Birthright Part 1, and Data is when he gets his dream program, when his dream program activates, and he's doing all these paintings of like wings and black birds, and then crows and ravens and things. And obviously the whole scene is artwork, and I'm just like, it took me a minute to be just like, oh, how can you recognize a crow? And then obviously Moriarty, gotta love that dude. And going right back to the first episode of TNG with Pop Goes the Weasel and the whistling.
Yeah, which that's a bit of a redemption for Riker, because in the end of Nemesis, he couldn't remember the tune, but now he remembered.
Yeah, and obviously finding Data, but then discovering that it's not just Data in there. There's Law and even Lal. And now that melted my heart. The fact that Lal was in there as well, because I loved that girl. I struggle watching Offspring because I sob like a baby every single time I watch that. But the war between Law and Data just came to a head, and Data confirmed something I've always said, and it was a bit of a yay moment for me, but it was also very heartwarming to see Spot again, and also the holo image of Tasha Yar, even though she has a different stance than the original in TNG, but that just all of that, all of Data's memories, and he played Law, and Law didn't see it coming, and that was such an epic win. It really was. And then the announcement that Data makes when he's back to himself, holy hell, I laughed so much when I first saw that.
Hell has no free like a Data scorned.
Exactly. And the thing with the transporters, and then Ro turning up, and then or death, and
Again.
then and then the that captain who was she on the Enterprise F? Or
Shelby.
the Admiral. Yeah, Shelby, that's the one. That there was a lot of familiar faces. And even right down to like names of ships, and one of the people that came through on the comms saying that he'd taken back their bridge. I can't remember who he was, but who was it? Do you know what? I only watched this about a month and a half ago as well. I can't remember what ship it was on, but I'm sure it was supposed to be a descendant from one of the TOS.
Oh, at the start of the last episode, Walter Koenig plays Chekhov's grandson.
Yeah. Anton
The
Chekhov.
president of
President Anton Chekhov, named after Pavel Chekhov and Anton Yelkin, who played Chekhov in the Kelvin timeline.
Yeah,
which I thought that was a great little double nod, and the script is almost identical to Star Trek 4. It's like, do not approach Earth, save yourselves. Goodbye, farewell.
And so there was that, and then when the Borg took over, that formation of the fleet was absolutely beautiful. I'm sorry, but I've got to give the Borg credit for summer, that formation above Earth was just absolute perfection. No pun intended. But then as well, the pièce de résistance, the Enterprise D, back from the dead. And I get goosebumps. Pardon?
The Franken D.
Yes.
Franken
yes. And just when the lights go on, and it's just, and then when it flies out and goes to warp, and it's just so beautiful. And this is why I have to have like the entire season 3, and rather than just one episode, because just everything about it is just epic. And then when they're going up against the Borg cube, this old ship that's been salvaged and basically redone. And I always laugh once they start, after they finally listen to Data. And then Deanna's just like, why am I sensing enjoyment? And I'm just like, well, ta-da, And then the look on Data's face as well. But yeah, it's just absolutely epic. And the fact that oh, what's his freaking name? LeVar Burton's real life daughter was in it as well.
Yeah.
That was beautiful seeing them together.
Mika Burton.
Yeah, she is such a sweetie pie. But yeah, it's just absolutely epic. And as I say, I've recently done a rewatch of season 3, and I'm just really, really gutted that they're not going to do a legacy, because I want to know where that goes. I want to know where that goes. I want to know what Seven was going to say, whether it was going to be engaged. You know, I want to know that. But more importantly, as much as I love 7 of 9, I am more invested in Jack. And like that end credit scene with Q as well, you know, I'm just like, ooh. And so I really do hope that they do a legacy with them all, so that we can follow the Enterprise G. And I'm sorry, it'll always be the Titan for me.
I don't like the name change either.
What was that, Hugo?
I don't like the name change either. It's an unnecessary rebrand.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Titan. It's just the nacelles I don't like. They look like Lego. But I don't like the fact that they renamed it. I actually think it's quite an insult to the legacy of the Titan. And there could be much better ships with the name Enterprise on it. But no, other than that, I absolutely adore the entire season, and this is why I had to have it as my number 1 in my top 5. And then obviously Star Trek First Contact is my number 1 Star Trek movie.
Yeah, which I was just gonna say, yeah, that's mine as well. For it's Borg. See, I like this image that I got of it too. It's just like, oh, this works.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I started. I keep on wanting to say Star Trek 6 was the first one I saw in theaters. The Star Trek Generations is the one that I saw 8 times in less than 2 weeks in theaters when it first came out.
That's just greed.
I wanted Generations to do well in the box office. So I was giving them my money. I was getting concessions every time. So I spent a lot those 2 weeks. But yeah, First Contact I actually only saw maybe 2 or 3 times in the theater. But
well, I've never seen a Star Trek movie in theaters. Ever. But as everyone should know by now, and I will say it again, Star Trek First Contact is what got me into Trek. TOS made me hate Star Trek, but First Contact made me love Star Trek and turned me into a Trekkie. And even though I didn't know any of the backstory of any of the characters, I fell in love with the crew, mainly Data and the Borg Queen, you know, gotta love them. But I also share my birthday with First Contact Day, which is like even more epic. And I mean, once I'd seen TNG, I appreciated First Contact more because I had the backstory. And it made me understand everything so much better, especially Picard. And so many people kept saying that his outburst to Lily in First Contact was so out of character for him, but it wasn't. And if you know TNG, you will know that was a long time coming. And it was very much needed in order to give him more clarity on the situation. And yeah, it was just, going back in time, going right back to the beginning of Warp Drive. And the conversation that Picard and Data had when they were stood beside the Phoenix. And then Deanna's just like, should I leave you three alone?
Yep.
And then obviously Deanna's epic drunken scene. I absolutely adore that.
That's one of the few movie scenes that I can go verbatim with inflection and all. As she's doing it, it's like I'm doing it right with her. It's a
same.
I'm just trying to blend in.
Yeah, and I absolutely love it.
And she totally violated first contact protocol, just like, and you told him our cover story. He didn't believe me.
Yeah, and I love the guy that they chose to play Zephram Cochrane. He is an amazing actor.
James Cromwell, yep.
Yeah, he is an amazing actor, and he really made that, it was just, First Contact holds a special place in my heart, and it always will.
See, if you're looking for my professional opinion as ship's counselor, he's nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, what's your number one, Phil?
Mine?
Yeah.
So this is
now, at least.
This has been a lot of juggling because I had no idea what to go with because there's so many. So this is just what I'm going to throw for the moment because it's a combination of just nostalgia and fun from my youth. But I'm going to have it a tie for two of them, but they connect. And I'm going to make it, and you'll understand why, because I'm going to make it The Trouble with Tribbles and Trial and Tribulation.
Yeah, so that I was doing like I'm holding a tribble, even though I don't have one.
Yeah, that's not what it looked like, Dave. It did not look like he was holding a tribble.
I
won't even say what it looks like.
The first one was another one that I saw when I was really little, and I loved it. It was just it was up there with one of the first 4 or 5 Star Trek episodes that I saw in the mid 70s in reruns, and I was a kid watching these. So it just I don't know, it was a fun episode. And I remember giggling through the whole thing. But when I saw Trial and Tribulations, I was kind of hesitant. I wasn't sure how they were going to do that, and I didn't have high expectations for it when I watched it, but I was really pleasantly surprised when that aired. I really actually enjoyed that a lot.
So I'll be listening. I got to step away for a second.
But no, I love that DS9 episode. I really do.
But it was so well done and this was in the 90s, and they merged those scenes together seamlessly so well. I was blown away by that. And that was really
TOS too.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. I didn't.
Oh,
there you go.
That's the closest that Katie's going to get to liking TOS.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind watching that episode. I actually really, really like it. I mean, who wouldn't like seeing Jadzia Dax in a mini dress?
Yeah.
But the one thing that I love about that episode is, as Phil said, the way they merged those scenes together so seamlessly was brilliant.
Too.
Yeah, and everything.
Well. It was so impressive.
And even the story about the Klingons and the Headridges,
Yes. Yeah.
That was yeah, so that really is the closest to TOS that I would actually like, because that is like one of two things with William Shatner in that I can actually stand watching, and the other thing is Generations.
Yeah.
But yeah, brilliant episode. I love that crossover.
I have a little bit of sort of an inside joke on that, because it was a very good friend of mine for many, many years, and still a good friend of mine. She moved to the US, actually. Her name's Dawn. But at the time, like, there was only, like, she couldn't get into DS9 at the time. I think she's come to appreciate it more, but at the time she couldn't get into it and she didn't want to watch it. And so somebody was telling her about it, and I was kind of like, well, don't spoil it. We're going to see it eventually. But somebody ended up spoiling it for her, saying how there was a bomb inside one of the tribbles, and she couldn't stop laughing as soon as that idea was having, and she could not. She burst out laughing, and so every time I say, every time I pick up the phone, I talk to her, I'm like, bomb tribble, and she'll start laughing. She'll start bursting out laughing. She says, don't do that.
I love that. That is adorable.
But yeah,
No,
so
but
yeah.
No, one thing that I did like about this episode is the fact that it was divulged that one of Dax's previous hosts, Emily, slept with Dr. McCoy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah.
He had the hands of a surgeon, and she just the glint in Jadzia's eyes, and she's just like, and like Cisco's like, "Nope, not having this."
Yeah.
God, yeah.
But yeah, going with me coming from a video production background, yeah, the way that they were able in the early '90s be able to do some of the stuff that they did with that is just amazeballs.
Just
Oh,
seamless. The way they
absolutely.
did that. Yeah. They changed out characters in a couple of scenes, and just the way they were in the back and moved behind them, just wow. Yeah. Still to this day, I watch that and just go, wow, that was so well done.
And
who was it that said something like she made a comment like, oh, I didn't realize it was so handsome, and then it was like, oh yeah, Captain Kirk was known as kind of a ladies' man. Not him, Spock.
Yeah.
That,
it's him and Jadzia. But
what was it, Jadzia? Okay, yeah. Okay.
No, it was Jadzia and Cisco.
Cisco, that's right. They were the two kind of sneaking around. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bashir thinking that he was might have been predestination paradox, where he was his own grandfather.
Oh,
so it's like my grandma's last name was Wadley. It's like, I never met my grandpa. It's just like, maybe I was determined to be. And so the way O'Brien just laughs is like, don't laugh if we get back and I don't exist anymore. And he's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, one can hope. But yeah, that
is a very good choice.
And the way that's a way of possibly reintroducing the tribble species to the 24th century, because it was thought that they got all wiped out from the great tribble hunt that gave Odo a laugh.
Yeah, and I mean that end scene in Quarks, where he's just surrounded by tribbles and then he's even got one in his head. That is just adorable. I absolutely love that, because the look on Quark's face was just he was just not amused.
Yeah, he's just resigned to it. I say, oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good choice for a number one slot. Have we done Hugo's number one?
Well, we flashed it, but we didn't discuss it. In the Pale Moonlight. Another strong dark episode, which I mean that speech that he gives at the end I've been seeing it proliferate on the memes a lot lately. But I mean it's heavy. It's a heavy episode.
Oh, Hugo, pray tell, why is this your number one?
Well, it's not his number one, but that's based on the 5 that he gave us. Like, you know what? This is probably top of the list. And he's just nodding. Well, as we wait for him to come back, because say, well, I'll just my number one for the here and now is what? No, Hugo's back.
Sorry, it wouldn't let me unmute my mic there for a second.
Well, it was flashing back and forth a lot, so I was like, "What the heck?"
Oh, my
But
man.
yes, yeah, in the pale moonlight.
I think it's a beautiful episode. It's always stood out to me because of the, and we talked about you talked about sorry, I forget the title, the Paper Moon episode though.
It's
There's
only
only a Paper Moon. And In the Pale Moonlight is another one that deals with the darkness of war. As we get into like the final few seasons of Deep Space Nine, we get a lot of the darkness of war, and the entire episode, is with the book ending of the log and him question his morality throughout the entire thing. And I don't know, it's just the ideology that kind of, when we earlier on in Deep Space Nine, they established Section 31, and a lot of the characters on Deep Space Nine are kind of unhappy with the vague morality that Section 31 employs, the any means to secure the Federation. And the fact that in this episode, Cisco has to stoop down and also break down the morality that he has been beholden to for forever, because he knows that there's no way to end this war unless the Romulans are involved, and the only way to get the Romulans involved is to make them feel threatened for their life. But you're not going to get access to information that makes them feel that way without faking it, and so he has to struggle with keeping it all secret and making sure that only him and Garrick know exactly what's happening the entire time. And he has the problems of the counterfeiter is, a rampant drunk who just attacks people and causes problems for everyone. And then, of course, he has to deal with the fact that he has given Garrick kind of this leeway and this latitude to do what he needs to do to get the job done. And that involves, bombing a Russian senator and killing a man and all kinds of other very, very dubious things that Garrick does, because he knows as a member of the Obsidian Order that sometimes to make an omelet you had to crack a few eggs. But I just love the ideology that Cisco is having to break a lot of his tenets just to try to end this war, because he's tired of seeing people die. He's tired of every day putting a casualty report, and it's thousands of innocent citizens of his nation, essentially.
And this is one episode where I actually like Cisco, because I've got a lot of issues with Cisco, and he's one of my least favorite captains, but purely because he's very monotone throughout it. There's only been like 2 times really that I've like been like, oh yeah, he's like coming out of his shell now, and that's when he punched Q. And in this episode, when he just, like you said, Hugo, he went against everything he stands for in order to help the Federation win the war. But then after, he just went back to his usual self, and he didn't have that edge anymore. It was only like in this episode that I'm just like, yes, finally, it's been a long time coming. He's breaking out of himself. He is expanding. He is finally evolving. And I mean, aside from when he does like actually evolve and, join the wormhole people, he his character doesn't really have much evolution throughout the entire series, in my opinion. He's always like very predictable, even when it comes to, okay, yeah, sometimes he goes a bit off script, but that's usually driven by strong emotion, which is very predictable for him. Whereas in this episode, it's almost like he is finally himself for the first time, fully 100%. And he's doing everything he can, everything he wants to. He's basically flipping off the Prime Directive, the Federation, and doing what needs to be done. He's never really done that before. For the greater good, so to speak. He's done that driven by emotion, but that was purely selfish and personal. Whereas this, it was something bigger. And he was amazing in this episode. He truly was. But then afterwards, he just went back to his usual self, and I'm just like, nah.
It's definitely not the first time Cisco really kind of went against the grain, because there's the season 5 episode Blaze of Glory when he had to recruit Eddington to help stop an attack that the Federation thought was happening, but it wasn't. But when he started bombing Maquis installations, sorry, I'm getting tired. It's been going on over 3 hours now, so it's getting late. But yeah, when he just, without the authorization of Starfleet, he's deploying trilithium weapons in the atmosphere on Maquis planets. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, it's saying poisoning the.
But again, for me, that was very predictable, because he was being driven purely by his emotions at that point. And that is expected with Cisco. The only time he ever breaks the mold, really, is when he's driven by extreme emotion and things get personal for him. Whereas in this episode, in the Pale Moonlight, he does it as a Starfleet officer. It's not personal. It's for the Federation. It's for the greater good of the quadrant. It is for everyone. And that, for him, is breaking the mold, because the only time he's ever done anything so reckless is when he's been over emotional and is basically said, screw you, to everyone and everything, in about for revenge, payback, get one over on someone. It's always been personal. Whereas this episode, he really was like fully 100% the Cisco that he buries all the time. And he keeps so much of himself buried so that he can maintain this pompous Starfleet officer act. Whereas this is one time he didn't. He let it all out. And I cheered so much. And I'm like, yes, this is Cisco's evolution. Finally, didn't happen.
It's just a little bright spot.
Pardon?
It's just a little bright spot. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the problem I have with Cisco. It's almost like he's afraid to be 100% himself throughout the entire series. And then in this one episode, he's just like, okay, I need to just, come out. It's almost like a coming out experience, He's finally being his whole self. But then he buries it again.
It is kind of a personal thing when it starts out, because it's not personal to him, but he's taking on the struggles of his crew because it starts out with Dax having someone that she lost in a conflict, and that kind of galvanizes him. And he's like, "I'm tired of putting these names on this board. I'm tired of my crew members losing people every single day." He says that every day someone sees someone that died that they knew or that they were at the academy with or something like that. And boils over, and he says that he decides that he's got to do anything it takes to get results.
But even though it started off personal, it was more of a generalized personal thing. His
It
crew.
wasn't his own personal.
It wasn't his own personal revenge thing. It wasn't his own personal beef with someone. He, as a captain, it is personal when your crew is dropping like flies, but it was more of a generalized officer personal, captain personal, an officer rather than a selfish one. He was thinking of other people when he did this, even though he was just like, I'm sick of putting names, adding names to this list. I'm sick of everything.
And on that, there's a scene where he's losing his resolve and doing all these bad things, and then he says, "I came back to my office, and what did I find? Another casualty report waiting for me."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But again, he was doing it for other people. It was other people that was in the forefront of his mind. Whereas other times, like the Eddington thing and the Marquis thing, he took that like extremely personal, selfishly. Whereas in the Pale Moonlight, it was personal to him, but in a more generalized sense because it was his crew, it was his fellow officers. And he knew that they were losing the war and that something extreme had to happen. And that's the big difference for me. But it's a very good choice of episode for your number one slot.
It shows the morality fight that is always common in Star Trek. We see it a lot where the officers are struggling with their duty and then what they want. You have a lot. And that's why it's such a great departure for Cisco. Cisco is very much a by the books captain, trying to do everything the right way most of the time. He follows his orders most of the time, and he's just a good boy. Whereas Janeway and Picard, and Kirk tend to lead with their heart a lot more, and he's just kind of
by his gut, very, very Gibsian.
He's a very good officer, and he holds things in a lot more than he.
Yeah, but I guess like I said, we're over 3 hours now. We still got quite a few viewers, so if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe to the channel so you get to hear more about the random murmurings going on and all of that and stuff. Because I'm starting to have a hard time formulating words at this point. But I guess it's kind of funny that we ended on a light note with my number one, those old scientists from season 2 of Strange New Worlds, where they actually cross over Boimler and Mariner from Lower Decks, so to bring a couple of animated characters back in time. So another time travel episode is it's just a wibbly wobbly timey wimey to the extreme. And say there's just so many Easter eggs in this episode.
Yeah.
Is they when Mariner scares Boimler, he screams, "Ooh," and she's like, "Shh, they're having a playing thing about right now. Not they haven't met Q yet." And just the and with Mariner idolizing Uhura, but saying Uhura hadn't found herself yet. She's very by the book, very structured, very regimented in her ways before she really started opening up to be the Uhura that she grew up knowing and learning about in history class. And with Tendi and all that, it was probably one of the best episodes of the new Trek, as a lot of people refer to Discovery and Strange New Worlds, and it it infused a lot of the comedy and slapstick that Lower Decks was known for, and saying was
Yeah.
because
Mm.
they don't make any more new episodes. But to plop them into the seriousness of Strange New Worlds in an episodic format, it it was well done in my opinion. And say, and of course, it was mentioned earlier that totally unscripted moment when Jack Quaid just
Riker.
steering her, he says, and of course, Jonathan Frakes directing this episode too probably played into that. He's just like, but Frakes loved it so much he kept it for the final. He made the final cut for the episode, and then of course everyone's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
One thing that I do love about this, though, is that, like, with the crossover from animation to live action, Jack Quaid, who plays Boimler, he got his walk down perfect.
Absolutely.
And that was just epic.
And
like when he was just like walking away down the corridor, you really did see it.
Well, yeah, he's running away from Una because
Yeah.
she thinks that something bad's going to happen, but Mariner just says no. He just got a pin up of poster of you in his locker in his
Yeah.
and she
Well, that walk.
which didn't sit well with Una. She's like, okay.
But no, it was done so well, and I adore that episode. And the fact that they got everything so spot on from their animated characters, especially Jack Quaid.
Oh, yeah. When he first saw Pike in sickbay, he's like a computer and program, thinking he's in the holodeck.
Yeah.
Okay, wasn't talking to you, Alexa. Sorry. See, my computer is my wake word for the device, and I saw it light up. I was like, oh, wasn't talking to you. So
yeah,
I
this episode is
activated my Google Home device as well. Just like, yay.
But yeah, I think this is a really good episode for the number one spot for you, Dave. It's a really fun episode. It's I mean, in all honesty, I think it's hilarious. And, we actually got to see Jack Quaid do the Boimler scream.
Oh, yes. More than once.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was just beautiful. Oh. I love
By the
boys.
way, he was in a movie last summer. I can't think of the name of it now. Oh, shit.
IMDb
it was
help
good,
us.
but it's a hard sit through because the idea is that he can't feel pain, and he goes through.
Right?
No, that's it. Yes, yeah. Well, if you really want to hear him,
Novocaine.
Oh, Novocaine.
It's good, but it'll make your toes curl.
Yeah, although I wish I didn't feel pain. I really do. Yeah. But no, I can't imagine seeing Jack Quaid in anything else. in all honesty. I don't know if I have seen him in anything else.
It's really
He-
jarring watching him in The Boys.
That is now, even though I started that first, but yeah, it's yeah.
And he does the voice of Clark Kent Superman in the My Adventures with Superman.
Yeah, that's a pretty good series too.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to
not
watch.
seen it.
I've watched snippets of it, but I haven't watched episodes of it yet. But I want to watch it because of Quaid. So
Yeah, I think the only thing that I've actually seen with him in it is Lower Decks.
same.
And then obviously this crossover. I don't think I've seen him in anything else. I'll have to IMDb his name.
He's Dennis is Quaid's son, isn't
Yes.
he? Yeah.
One of the good cases of nepotism.
Yeah.
True. Very true. But I think that's going to be a wrap for this episode tonight. Thanks everyone who watched. Again, please, 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 please like and subscribe if you like what we're talking about. And say so it helps us. And I would say we're getting Starfleet Academy here in 2 weeks. Let's see, the episode
it's a week and a day.
well, it's a week and a day for the episode. It's going to be 2 weeks before we talk about the episode because we are going to switch it up. Say just like any TV series and whatnot. Say we might change the date and the time a little bit. So I'd say I'm glad changing it was able to let you join us for the first time in forever, Hugo. But we're going to take a slightly different approach for the next episode because it's an acquaintance of Zach. I wish Zach was with us tonight so he could kind of pimp up our next. We're going to have a special guest for next week. It's I am for I am. He's going to be talking about Star Trek and post labor economics. So it kind of goes with what Zach does with his weekly podcast. So I am. I don't know if you guys heard that or not.
I'm very intrigued about meeting William. I really am.
Yeah.
Me too. But
yeah, that's exciting to know. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, saying so that's gonna be a fun episode, I think. So if I can hit the right button to remove that, there we go. And say, but yeah, we're gonna be doing some back end stuff here the next couple of days. Gonna fix up the background for all this. And saying I am in the process of getting us on Spotify. So if you missed an episode, you can listen to us on Spotify. There's like a couple other, and I'm going to get us on. Yeah, it's been a long day. I don't have any of this written down on my script. So, but we're gonna be making more of a presence. 2026 is going to be our year. We are going to be we are the OG technically Trek. We are going to be the best of the technically Treks, and hopefully with William next week, that'll be the first step in the right direction. And then after that, it's going to be about 9-10 weeks of talking Starfleet Academy, which I am really hoping it's going to be good. And say but yeah, Paul Giamatti playing a bad guy, that's going to be interesting. Having Robert Picardo back as the Doctor, that's going to add some legacy bearing to it. It'll be interesting to see with the first episode, they got a bunch of character names from the series, including Ben Sisko. So maybe we'll figure out, maybe might have some storyline of what happened to him after Deep Space Nine. Who can say? But what I can say right now, I'm going to bed. So,
all right.
Peace out, everybody. May Spock be with you. And until next week, hailing frequencies are now closed.